Hey people, it's Steel Gamer here, and welcome back to my New Game Plus full 100% completion playthrough of Assassin's Creed Origin. And as usual, I play on Nightmare, and that's because I'm stupid. So, I'm going to continue picking up right where I left off. So please sit back, enjoy the stream, and have fun. I got somebody that's actually coming, or supposed to be coming into the stream, that explaining a few things to them about the game, so that may take place during this playthrough, but in the meantime we're going to keep going through and doing the next segment of the map. And for those of you who are familiar with what exactly it is I'm doing, I'm only doing each segment of the map as it comes up, and the next segment I'm doing now is Uab, Nom, whatever it is. And so what winds up happening is I'm completing all question marks and exposing all areas for each section before I move on to the next section of the map. And then I'm going to go back and do all of the side quests and things like that, and main quests. On occasion I will do some side quests, but that's about the extent of it. So without further ado, let me get right into this and go to this question mark and then go down through here. Again, enjoy the stream.
Oh. Ha, Bean.
Hey, how's it going? Welcome to the stream. I don't know if you're the person that actually I was going over a few things with, but if you are, you gotta type in the chat because I have no idea who you are. YouTube doesn't list who's in the chat, so I feel kind of like weirded out saying, "Hey, buddy, what's up?"
From a temple. Are you crazy? You don't want something stolen from a god?
Oh, alright, was that you that I was talking to? Because like I said, I just want to make sure. Okay, so these are just generic tips, and what works for me is not going to quite work for everybody else. Obviously, everybody's playstyle is different. So I'm assuming you understand how to read the gear. And you understand what the difference between like the 4 bars that are on the side of the special abilities and how many bars are lit, what those mean. Because if they don't, I'll go over them with you. But I'm assuming you already know, because I don't want to wind up telling you stuff you already know. You know what I mean? So if you don't know what those are, let me know, and I'll tell you. Also, I'm playing this on the PC, but I'm using a wired 360 controller for this, so that you'll see like button combinations on there, but I do have a mouse, so. And the other thing too is that I purchased the gold edition of this game when it was on sale, so I have other items you may not have, and so I've been watching people gain items I've never even seen, so. So first of all, let me know if you know what those things on this, if you know what those are. Because again, I can cut this. I can cut this down. Okay. Do you know what the? You see where it says like I have the bow highlighted, the crescent moon, because I use that bow. I've used it since the beginning of the game. I just keep upgrading it, and so there's a reason why I use it, because it coincides with my abilities, but also because of the ability on it. But the thing here is, if are you familiar with, like, see how it says charging speed and then combo multiplier? If you notice, combo multiplier has 2 bars. Even though both have 4 bars, 2 is lit up on the combo multiplier, but 4 are highlighted in the charging speed. Do you know what those bars on the side of those mean? I'll wait till you answer on that. And I'm also assuming you know that the game has a glossary. Like, the stuff I'm going over, the game really doesn't tell you. It kind of goes in a roundabout way, tells you, but you kind of have to look at it and guess. But it's easier if somebody actually explains it. Yeah, sort of. But basically, you're probably saying the same thing I am, so I'm just going to quickly explain this. All items that are legendary, basically all pretty much items that have these bars on them, all of them can go up to level 4 on that ability. How many bars are highlighted is the level of that ability. So in this case, charging speed is level 4. Combo multiplier is only level 2. Now, how do you find out what that stuff does is you open the glossary. And the glossary is used by, if you look down here, it says legend. It's on this, it's the left thumbstick. So I'm going to click it down, and so you can find what these things do. And so on, let's say charging speed, you'll notice that there's gold icons and there's black icons. So in this case, charging speed is going to be in the top half of it, and that would be I think right here. So charging speed is how fast you pull the bow back. And so at level 1, it's 10% speed. At level 4, it's 40%. It goes up by 10% each time. That's just how fast you draw the bow back. So how fast you draw the bow back depends on how fast you can shoot your arrows in that regard. So it's like how fast you can set up to get a really good shot in. Then when you use combo multiplier here, combo multiplier is actually a totally different story because it's actually really good. Even though mine's only at level 2, I think everybody's is. It's 115% additional damage every time you hit consecutively. And so, as I said, when you're on nightmare mode, how much damage the enemies do to you and how much health the enemies have are the only thing that change. So let's say, for example, you do 50 damage. You will do 50 damage to an enemy on easy, normal, hard, or nightmare. That damage doesn't change. The only reason it appears to change is because of how much health the enemy has. Hitting an enemy with 50 damage with a health bar of 300 is going to be significantly different than hitting an enemy that only has a health bar of 150. You'll notice a big chunk being taken out. It's not that you're not doing 50 damage, it's just the enemies have less health, so it appears you're doing more damage, but in reality, that's just how it works. Okay, so now when you look on fire, enemies have a chance to be set on fire. Now, this is why I said your weapons have to coincide with your abilities, and my ability tree is abnormal. It's not the average ability tree, because I'm going to go into it now. Oh, by the way, I usually equip a stealth bow, and I equip a regular bow. There's some debate on whether or not Lion's Cry, which is one of the bows you can get from, there's a battlefield area in the Curse of the Pharaohs, and it's a really good bow, don't get me wrong, but this stealth damage on this bow is just way better, because it's at 4, and if I showed you how much damage that's doing, it's absolutely ridiculous. So the Sword of Duat, like I said, it has health on hit, but its combo multiplier and critical hit rate are maxed out. And it's even better. Sometimes I can't say it's better than the Sun Slayer, but this is pretty good. Now, what I said about adrenaline regeneration, whether or not this thing does damage has no relevance to. I'm basically equipping it just to reboost my adrenaline. I can't even freaking speak. So if I wanted to use my adrenaline attack off of this sword, and I did it, what I would do is, in a battle, I would swap to these, let my adrenaline bar come up, and then once it was replenished, I would swap to this again, and then use the attack off of this, my adrenaline. And I just keep doing that. Because you can swap your weapons in the middle of battle. Most people don't do it, and some people forget about it. But that's about the extent of it. Now I'm going to open up my ability tree, because I want you to pay attention to the on fire with this. Okay. My ability tree is abnormal, as you can see. I didn't pick all the skills, and there's a reason why I didn't do that. Before I did anything with the ability tree, like most people, I started picking abilities that actually hindered you. Now, I'm not saying any of these abilities are bad or whatever it is, but if you're picking all of these abilities, your character actually becomes weaker, which doesn't really matter after a certain point. But when I was on my first playthrough, I was at level 40 doing the same damage somebody was at level 50. Somebody's like, how the hell are you doing that? And it's because of how I have my ability tree. Now, when I got the gold edition, I did purchase additional time saver stuff. So I bought some extra Helix credits, and I went and I bought stuff that directly impacted the game as far as damage-wise. So, for example, I revealed all the tomb locations and all the hermit locations because they give you ability points. Then I purchased where the stone circles were just because I felt like it. And then I purchased, I think it was 12 ability points additional, because the game gives, the gold edition gives you 3 ability points, but it also gives you 500 Helix credits, which I used to purchase more ability points, so that was 6. And then I purchased, I think it was like 12 more. I had a total of 15 additional ability points. 3 from the gold edition, plus the Helix credits, and then 3, whatever amount I bought. So that stuff basically directly affected my game. I didn't buy any drachmas or anything like that, and I didn't buy any of this. I just bought the ability points and the locations and stuff. And I'm going to tell you something about the gear real quick. Anything you get in this, anything in this screen can be obtained in a Heka chest, except for, I think, this mount. There is a unimount in here. It's something to do with a rainbow unicorn. I don't fucking know, whatever it is. But anyway, I think that was the only place you could buy that. But other than that, I actually got the unicorn itself in one of the Heka chests. I was getting like Pharaoh outfits and stuff, and I was like, okay, this is ridiculous. Alright, so anyway, back to my ability tree. The way this is set up as far as an RPG. Hunter, this is ranged, this is melee, and that's magic. That's the base way to look at it, because that's all it is. All RPGs basically have 3 elements: ranged, melee, and magic. They just name them differently. So anyway, in this particular case, one of the abilities that I got prior is the breath holding champion, and the reason why I got that isn't just to stay underwater longer for finding items. It allows you to get away from enemies. So I've hidden under boats for like extensive amounts of times till they stop looking for me. On top of that, if you get attacked in the water by a hippo or an alligator or whatever it is, it knocks your breath meter down, so you can. It's basically a survivability issue. So that is an extremely good passive. The main reason I went to the seer tree is because of this passive. I wanted fire bombs and I wanted some smoke screen. And I toyed with the longest time from getting this ability. I literally just got this ability last run. I was toying with the idea of getting it, but I decided to get it because of the shield guys. But anyway, the main reason for this tree is the pyromaniac ability, which coincides with my bow. So if my bow sets enemies on fire, I'm doing an additional 50% just on the fire damage. Now that coincides with the master trees here, which I'll get to in a minute. When I did these, I started looking, like I said, I watched a lot of videos, and I studied the trees, and I realized that some passives that you get actually make other passives 100% useless because they render it useless. And when you do that, it wastes an ability point. So when you have an ability point that's wasted, instead of putting it in where it could actually help you, it becomes useless. And here's a prime example of that, which I'll go over in a second. But I want to explain that all of these abilities, you can, as long as there's a line to it, it doesn't matter which direction you go in to get it. And that was what the key factor here was. Normal circumstances tell you 1 comes before 2. So normally when you see something like Adrenaline 1, obviously you think that there's going to be an Adrenaline 2, which there is. The problem with this is Adrenaline 1 always starts you off with half an adrenaline gauge, which is fine. But when you read Adrenaline 2, it starts you off with a full gauge. You can't do both. It's going to do one or the other. And when you get 2, it wipes 1 out. It makes 1 useless. So if you had a point in this ability, in this passive, and then you went this way to get part 2, you've wasted. I'm not saying that the shield charge is a wasted point. I'm saying the Adrenaline 1 is a wasted point. Now, I'm not saying that's a big deal, but the point is that actually makes your character weaker. In retrospect, and again, I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with that. I'm just saying, when I did these trees, I wanted to spend the least amount of points I get to unlock the master trees, and I wanted to get them as fast as I could. Because the more points that are in your master master, perk or abilities, the more damage you're going to do. Right now, I'm doing a 70% damage increase, and even if I didn't have those additional ability points that I purchased, I would still be way overpowered. It's simply because of how I did the tree. Now, when I was doing the Pyromaniac, when I was talking about the fire damage off of the bow and this, I'm doing an additional 65% damage just off of ranged. Couple that with if an enemy goes on fire, you're going to have a massive amount of damage just off that alone. So if you take a look at this, I only got bow bear. I didn't get any of these other things, and that is because every single thing I did coincided with my character, and that's why I said what I do isn't really necessarily going to help you, but this is the baseline of how it is, because when you follow a route like this and you have a very specific build, or combination of two skills, you have to maximize what you're doing if you want to be how much damage you want to do. And so I'm going to link a video in the chat right now. Now, I don't know if this is a bugged boss, and I don't know if it's normal or it's supposed to be doing that, or I'm just way overpowered, but I definitely know there's something wrong here. So give me a second. I'm going to link this video. The video is 1 minute and 10 seconds long, so just give me a second. Okay, I'm going to wait here for a second. Just go watch that video and watch what I'm talking about, because I don't think I've seen anybody else do what I did in that video. In the meantime, I'm just going to go get these. Right? You see what I'm saying? And I think something's wrong with that boss fight. I think even as powerful as I was, I don't think it should have been doing that. So the catch to that is it's ridiculous. But say, for example, my character just did that because it was that overpowered. It just, that's the definition of why I build my characters the way I do. Because if you take I don't think you've seen me fight in this game yet. First of all, I hate fucking guards in this game. I fucking hate them. I will literally go out of my way to attack any guard I see, no matter where it is, no matter what it's doing. It could be minding its business, and I'll fucking haul off and hit it. So, one of the tactics I was telling you to use on, like, bosses and things like that is to circle to the right of the enemy. Because, like, it's circle this way. So what happens is it's like I said, I noticed it right off the bat that some of these, so whoever programmed this is absolutely ridiculous. And what I was talking about mounts, I'll show you some, like, I don't think you should be allowed to use your mount in combat. I really don't. I use it, and I'm saying that you shouldn't allow it in combat simply because of what's going on. I'll show you. It's absolutely ridiculous. You can take out any single enemy in the game like this. Doesn't matter what it is. So, you're right about what you said it on as far as Nightmare is actually not that hard. The modes are not hard. Whatever mode I always tell people, whatever mode of difficulty you start on becomes normal to you. So I'm so used to seeing how much damage they do on Nightmare. It's like you playing on normal. You know, but if you go to Nightmare from normal and you get hit, you're like, wow, this is hard. It's not that it's hard, you're just not used to it. And so, you know, it's ridiculous. And so let me go find something. And just to make sure, I want to make absolutely sure that this is on Nightmare. It is, I know it is, but I need to make sure. Oh, I got the Falaki after me, right? I think they're all level 50. I think they're all above me. Oh yeah, they're all above me. So that's actually one good thing. So let me go this way. I gotta get down here. This is ridiculous. I keep running in damn circles in the wrong way. All right, here we go. Yes, I did. The tablets of knowledge actually give you XP. Once you clear the XP, it gives you an ability point. I think it used to give you an XP point for every X amount of them you bought, but I don't think that I don't know if that's true anymore. I could be wrong in that. I thought I remember somebody saying that inside inside one of their streams, but again, I could be mishearing it or whatever it is. So don't quote me on that. I really don't know. But yeah, I bought a bunch of them. I did some drachma farming. I have a drachma farming video on my channel. I mean, so does everybody else. But the thing with the drachma farming videos is they don't explain half of the stuff they're explaining. So or they don't explain. They're either missing information, or they don't explain all of it, or they don't quite go over where they are. A lot of them are just butchered. So when it comes to something like that, I explain the entire process from start to finish, and I go through and I show it being used and things like that. And what I have to correct a lot of people on is people like, this is a glitch. This is a farming glitch. It's not a glitch. It's not an exploit. It's simply nothing more than a respawn point for enemies that show up. It'd be no different than, I actually got into this with somebody. He's like, well, that's a glitch. I'm like, it's not a glitch, dude. He goes, well, the program is not supposed to be doing that. Sorry, he says, the program's not supposed to be doing that. I said, what do you mean the program's not supposed to be doing that? The program's not supposed to be respawning enemies once you die? I said, so what you're saying is, clearing out a fort, and then getting killed in the battle after only clearing out half the fort, and then respawning and clearing out the fort again is a glitch? Really? I said, people target like specific respawn points and then say, oh, that's a glitch. The entire game is like that. I could clear out any fort, kill myself, and when I spawn again, the game reset and all the enemies are back in the fort again. So technically, any place in the game, if people are going to classify it as a glitch, means the entire game is a glitch, and it doesn't work like that. But so let me find out where the hell I am right now. I gotta go this way here. Let me get on my mount. Where am I freaking going? Jeez. I'm not going the wrong way. This is terrible. Alright, so let me go to this one right here. I should have had to... Wait, is that even in the same area? I don't want to... I literally do not want to target... I don't want to trigger this map. I want to trigger this map. And I don't know if I explained this at the beginning, but one of the reasons I'm not triggering the map... Oh, here we go. Ready? Watch how stupid this is. It's a ridiculous hit. I'm probably going to get killed doing this. Oh, I'm dead. Give me a minute. That was really piss poor. I can't stand these assholes out in the desert. And by the way, if you watch some of the first playthroughs I did, I died so many times it was ridiculous. And people look at you, you look at me now and you're like, oh wow, you can play good. I still die, but the fact of the matter is, if you watch me, I take out hordes and hordes and hordes and hordes of guys. Alright, so here we go. You ready? Watch. Let me see if I can grab these guys. Oh, missed them. Ready? Alright, so let me get rid of these guys. Hold on. Oh, I died again. Let me see. This is terrible. This is fucking horrible. I shouldn't have gone off my mount. That was a bad idea. What it is, I'm not expecting these guys to be over here again. I thought they would, because normally when you... Oh, there they are. Oh, no, 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 no. I'm going to go get them. Normally I fight on horseback with an arrow. I don't use that arrow. I use this one. Take the guys out in the back first. See, what's going... I can't... These guys that are, like, at a distance, they have these... For some reason, they literally just, like... They have these stupid friggin' arrows on them. And they friggin' do, like, 30,000 damage... 30 there doesn't damage to you, but you know what I mean. The reason I'm dropping smoke bombs is because it disorients the enemies. So when you're surrounded, you can actually get... you can just basically take control of the fight. And so, let me go over to this. Let me go over here. I will literally ride in a horse on a fort and just kill everybody. I don't even care. Alright, to give you an example on why I use I use the stealth bows I do. There's a guy sitting up on that ridge. I mean, he's sitting up on that stand over there. Watch how stupid this is. Alright, now normally when I go into a fort, one of the things I tell people is use dawn and dusk. Number one, dawn and dusk at night, they regard sleeping. Number two, when you're in an investigation area, when you use Animus Pulse, the arrows are actually 10 times easier to see. And three, it's a really good way to, you know, bypass sandstorms. Alright, so let me see here. Swap to my range bow. Watch the stupidity level of this, dude. Okay, also, just so you know, I'm standing up, but if you crouch down, you actually get better aim. That's something that the game tells you some of the stuff during loading screens, but if you never see the loading screen, that's not going to help you. Watch the damage ratio I do. 5K, dude, is retarded from that distance. From that friggin' distance, he's dead. So, stealth is really easy to use in this game, and watch what I do to some of these enemies in the fort. I won't even wait. I'll just run up to you. I'll just run up to them and hit them. I just don't even care. Ready, watch. This is so stupid. Ready?
Halt! Wait a minute.
Alright, now here's the trick I was telling you about with this. If you circle around the enemies, and then you dodge when they go to hit, you almost wind up right behind them. So the guys with the shields are a pain in the ass. So now I'm just gonna run in. I just don't even care. Alright, so here we go. And by the way, just so you know, all guys will shoot you with arrows. There's a move I use. It's a dodge. Like, I don't even know what to call this. Oh shit, I'm dead. Sorry, I'm trying to talk and fight at the same time. Oh, that's why I couldn't roll. There was a fucking wall in front of me. All right. Okay, there's a move I do when I'm fighting enemies. I didn't realize if there was a wall in front of me. I didn't see it. But if you dodge behind an enemy while you have them targeted, and then you use R2. I use it'd be R2 for me. I think it's R2 on the PS4 controller. I'm not sure what it is on the keyboard. But what happens is it allows you to close the gap between archers and you, and on top of that, it allows you to do a strong hit. Watch. It breaks through guys' shields. Whoops. Alright, so it also allows you to dodge their attacks. And to be completely honest with you, I think the best weapon type in the entire game is heavy blunt weapons, and there's a reason why I say that. Let me swap to a heavy blunt weapon real fast, and I'll show you the power of it. The heavy blunt weapons take a little bit to... They're tricky. They're really, really tricky to use. Because you have to do it just right. So, let me see. War Scepter... The Jackal, no, it's not that. It is... I think I got rid of it. I'm not sure what I had. Heavy blunt. Level 55. It's the Jackal? No, that's long reach. I had a clubber, so I think I sold it. I didn't even freaking upgrade this. Okay, so let me swap to this real fast. Yeah, okay. So, if you time this just right...
You will pay, corpse.
Alright, so if you time this just right, it'll knock anybody over. And everyone's like, oh, it's too slow. It doesn't matter whether it's slow. These fucking pricks. So this is what I can't see. These assholes, they're like, I don't know where the hell these pricks keep coming from. See, how the hell can he be hitting me for that? I guess I really can't say that because I'm doing the same thing. But I need to get out of here because this guy's gonna kill me. And this is I think this is a level 1 item I have. Yeah, it's level 1. It's not even like 55. If I went and jacked this up, it would be retarded. Okay, so let me see here. You got to be careful because they'll sometimes come back into the fort. Yep, here they come. So I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna take them out with us. Oh, that's why you had cedar wood on them. Okay, so let me see here. So most people will try to like run up to the guys. The AI in this game is so stupid. You can literally run up to a guy and hit him before he has any time to react. And obviously, you know, you don't want to get totally surrounded, but unless you just don't give a shit. See, watch how stupid this is. Okay, watch. Here's a blunt weapon against one of the bosses here. Ready? Here we go. Ready? Whoops, that was bad timing. Ah, fucking pain in the ass. There we go. I got him. Alright, I got it. I'm dead. But it's the timing issue on these, so it's really hard to do with a blunt weapon, and that's why I guess a lot of people don't use them, because they just want to go in and kill. So what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to go in and I'm going to purposely antagonize every guard in the fort around me to show you the exact fighting techniques I use. I'm not actually paying attention to what I'm doing right now. So I know that sounds like cheesy. It's like, oh, that's just an excuse. Watch. I've literally, if you watch some of my videos, I've literally taken on 16 guys at the same time. So I'll show you when I go through it. It doesn't even bother me that there's like literally like some playthroughs you watch. You're like, how the hell are you taking on that many guys? And I'm talking kings, guys with clubs, everything. These guys are the worst. Those guys right there because they back up. See how stupid the AI is? Alright, so here, I wanted this guy out here, and then I'm gonna have him come out here with him and fight a few other guys. Because now I have a king. Or whoever the hell it is. I call him a king because he's got a crown above his head. So now I'm going to go out here. I'm going to have him follow me, and I'm going to try to get other guys involved in this fight. Here he is. Your ass. Alright, here we go. You ready? This guy's got an archer, so... Whoops. Whoops. You see what I'm doing? Yeah, I'm getting hit, but I'm not getting killed, so there's a difference. So here comes a guy with a club, ready? Throw smoke bombs down. Oh, dude, that would suck getting killed like that. Right in the friggin'... Dude, he's got, like, no tongue now. Oh, yeah, one other thing I'm going to show you is, now that I have an ability point, you'll notice that my melee tree is a lot higher than my range tree. And I keep them 5 points ahead of each other. So now what I'll do is I'll put 5 points into Hunter to get it to 70. Then I'll start on the Warrior and go to 75. The reason why I keep my Warrior tree higher than my range tree for mastery is because of this skill right here, this passive right here. I don't say this passive, this ability. This is a one-hit kill. If you kill an enemy with an adrenaline attack, you can just one-shot anybody that's around you. Obviously minus like heavy bosses, but you can break through anybody's shields and everything. It's really, really, really sickening in the arena. It's really disgusting. So I'm gonna put the point in here. So I usually always keep my melee higher than my ranged, because my range damage is already disgusting as it is. But the tactic you basically want to do is just keep dodging and holding in circling and just moving out of the way as soon as they attack. And of course, if you get, you know, multiple enemies around you, start throwing smoke bombs. It took me a while before I actually toyed with this ability, which is smoke screen damage. I literally just got, like I said, I got that in last stream I did. And I like it because I have a hard-on for knocking things over in a game, because if an enemy's knocked over in a game, it ain't doing anything. And I almost didn't get it, but it has nothing to do with the damage. It has to do with them being knocked on the ground, and I realized that if I throw it down, it's going to knock over shield guys, so I can take them out anyway, but I just rather have them on the ground. See, watch how stupid the AI is in this. It's dumb. It's like, it's broken, dude. It should not be like this at all. And that's why I said Nightmare is actually not that hard. If you run up and you just run into an enemy, they can't react. How the hell did that guy not see me after taking out this entire fort? It doesn't make any sense. So, let me, yeah, I gotta be really careful. I don't want to grab that. Let me go up. I can't, I don't want to go over there. I'll go over there after. So is that done? Nope, this is not done. I need to loot the treasure in here. Alright, so hey buddy, how's it going? Welcome to the stream. Alright. There's a couple enemies in this game that are just so heavily armored, you really need the ballista of the fort to take them out. It's so ridiculously overpowered. The guy is like so armored, almost nothing touches him. So alright, so now I got that out of the way. So now this is going to be rough. I need to go to undiscovered locations. Uncompleted, I should say. You know what? I am going to go over here and get that while I'm over here. Hey buddy, how's it going? Welcome to the stream. Yes and no, and there are just some things in the franchise I don't consider an Assassin's Creed game. Like Assassin's Creed 3, I don't, and Origins, I don't consider them Assassin's Creed games. I don't. The reason why is because I think they're just see how dumb the AI is? People like afraid to go up to him. Now if you get this guy attacking, you ready? One shot. So it's the reason I don't consider this an Assassin's Creed game. What I consider this is just a random open world game with the Assassin's Creed, some of the Assassin's Creed mechanics put into it, and then the mechanics of, then the label was just slapped on the game. I mean, we can all agree that there are some games that just should not have the title of the game series in the games, and it's not just with this, it's with some other stuff. And it's just like kind of an insult, you know what I mean? And so, you know, like Dungeon Siege was one of them. Dungeon Siege 3 should never have been called Dungeon Siege. What the other one was, what the frick was the name of the game series? It was, I can't remember the name of the game series, but if I say it, you'll know it. People are like, what the fuck is this crap? Even the makers of the game series, the original game series, asked the people who took it over, like, what the hell did you do to our game? I can't remember the name of the game off the top of my head right now. I'm afraid if I go over here, it's going to trigger that area, and I don't want to do that. Whoops, I moved. Fuck's this guy going? Dude, I almost did 10k to him. That's terrible. Alright, so, let me see here. I'm gonna grab all this crap and then get out of here. Alright, yeah, wow, I'm really close to that. So let me go to the tome here. I gotta get up on this. So yeah, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, like, there's certain games and series that need to come out. They came out when they needed to come out, and they basically broke the ground on, they broke the barrier on the game, on the changing of the franchise. So, for example, if you take Assassin's Creed 1, good game, you know, whatever. However, Assassin's Creed 2 was the baseline of what broke the ground for how Assassin's Creed games are, because that's where they put in all of these quests, missions, open world parkour, and things like that, and climbing mechanics. When you take a look at Devil May Cry, it was made by the same people who made Resident Evil. Like, how stupid is this AI? And that's I don't understand why people are afraid to go up to these guys. Just attack them. I mean, what's the worst that you're going to do is die? I learned to not die by getting killed constantly. Want to get better at a game? Die. You'll know how to avoid dying. It's as simple as that. Oh, here we go. You ready? Right in the grill. Oh, I missed him.
Block the way! Give me
Yeah, once I actually start concentrating on playing, I almost never die. Those were really bad examples. I feel like such an ass. It's like, yeah, I'm really cool. I can play this good, and it's like, dude, you're fucking dying. You suck at this game. But what I was getting at was Devil May Cry, the first one for the PlayStation 2 that came out. That was made by the same team that did Resident Evil. That game was released at a time where combat systems in games were getting really stale. So as a refresher on having, you know, better combat in games. And if you take a look at, in general, at all games, gamers will piss and moan. I'm not saying you, but I'm saying generalized gamers piss and moan about how they want something different. And then when something different does come out, all they do is they compare it to the game that they're pissing and moaning from, and then saying, oh, that sucks, and then they go back to playing the original game that they said they wanted something different in. So, for an example, one of the best combat systems in a game, well, I didn't say one of them, but a really good combat system was Age of Conan. The game might have been blah, but the combat system was insane. And so what wound up happening is, people pissed and moaned, you know, World of Warcraft, all games are copying World of Warcraft and everything else, and we need something different. So Age of Conan came out. Great combat system. All people did and says, oh, you know, this is nothing like WoW, and ignored it and then went back to playing WoW. And then Age of Conan got lost. So gamers got exactly what they wanted, and then they basically didn't pay attention to it, which doesn't make any sense. So that's the issue with gamers in general. They're just relatively stupid because they don't understand how things work. What the hell is this? Really? Huh, interesting. Alright, so I gotta find the tablet in this, huh? Ah, crap, this is gonna be one of these, huh? Wait, I can go down there from there? Huh, interesting. Silica. Oh, yeah. Oh, there we go. Another good reason for smoke bombs is it disorients enemies. Dude, did I just kill him with a smoke bomb? I just killed a friggin' lion with a smoke bomb. Oh my god. Oh my god, that's so stupid. I literally just killed a lion with a fucking smoke bomb. Oh my gosh, that's terrible. Alright, so I gotta find out where this is. Oh, by the way, just another tip here. You can pick these up. These are oil jars, and you can move them. And so what you can do is, you can throw anything in the game. The game doesn't tell you how to throw things, but you may or may not. But to throw something, once you pick it up, now you can throw anything, bodies, torches, anything you can pick up. So what you do is once you have something, if you hold the left trigger or L2, and then you use right, it'll throw it. So that's how it works. And just so you know, in one of my streams, I was messing around and I had to get this guy out of a fort, and there was a bunch of soldiers, so I snuck in the back wall and I got over the wall and I got to the guy and I freed him. So I'm like, I don't feel like fighting these guys. I climbed up the top of the wall, right, and I threw him off of the wall and down below under the ground. I went down and picked him up and took off. I thought it was going to kill him. It was just rather funny to see a guy I was trying to help. I just picked him up and threw him off the wall. I threw him out of a fort. He landed like 40 feet below. I'm like, whoops. I figured, okay, if he's dead, or whatever. Now, I gotta find out where the hell this thing is. Alright, so I gotta go up here, I think. I have no idea where I'm going. What the hell? Where am I going? Where is this thing? Did I even go in the right area? Alright, let me see. Is it this way? I have no idea where the hell I am going. Interesting. Wait a minute. What is that down there? I have to figure out where this thing is. Alright, hold on a second. Did I come in that way? I have no idea which way I came in. Alright, I came in this way. Alright, so I gotta go around. Oh, it's back there, I see it. So there's a whole entire area back here. I just gotta find out how to get back there. I hate looking for tombs, I don't like them. Okay, I see where this is now. It's back here, that's right. I hate looking for tombs. Oh, there it is. Nope, that's a regular chest. Where the hell is this guy? I really want to see if I actually killed this damn thing with a friggin' thing. Here we go. Where is he? Oh. That was hilarious. Where's this asshole going? Back here, ass. Alright. Hey, what's up, buddy, whoever just joined the stream. They really should allow, they should really have a list of names that show up, not just for typing in the chat. It's kind of lame that they don't do that. The tomb, I think, It's through one of these walls that I just passed. Oh, there it is. Alright, so this is a 1 point.
Ancient writing from the Old Kingdom.
Yeah, no problem. Oh, anyway, I didn't realize that was you in here. What's up, man? I'm gonna do this. I was actually helping Sad Boy Matt out, because, just so you know, too, Sad Boy, if you're inside, like, water and you don't want to drown or something, just open up the map and fast travel, because apparently some people think you can only fast travel by going to a fast travel point, so only actually by going to a fast travel point can you travel to another one. Now, this game allows you to fast travel no matter where you are anyway. So if you're underwater and you're about to drown, just open up the map and fast travel somewhere just to get out of the water. Do it to get out of caves, you know. The only time you can't fast travel is if you're in the middle of combat. So it's another tip I use. Also, if you jump off a really high area, that you're going to die if you land, and you don't want to die, just fast travel. You can also use Sinew to fast travel, too. I need to get the fuck out of here. I can't even go up there. Where the hell is the exit to this? This is terrible. I don't even know where the hell I'm going. I know how this entire game mechanics work, and I can't get out of a cave. There we go. And just so you guys know, just so you know, when you complete New Game Plus, you get another outfit. What's okay? I didn't even know. Are you asking something? I don't even know. Oh shit! What the hell did I just do?
Sandstorm coming.
Fucking I hate sandstorms. Are you actually asking permission if you can use my ability tree? What the hell do I care? What am I gonna do? Stop you? It's not my ability tree. It's just a tree that I set up. Use whatever the fuck you want. I just happen to build my tree like this. If I didn't want it being known, I wouldn't show it. Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. No, I get what you're reading now. I get it. I thought you were asking me for, like, you know, so is it okay to use it? I'm like, what the fuck am I gonna do? Stop you? I don't care if you use it. Go ahead. If I didn't want it being used, I wouldn't have shown it. You know, that's all about, you know, that's what this game is all about. It's friggin' helping people, because there's a lot of stuff. My whole channel is set up so I can't stand lazy fucking game development where they have a bunch of mechanics in a game and they don't bother explaining a lot of shit. Some of the stuff you can't figure out. Like, even if you did it, you wouldn't know what you were doing. So, it's absolutely ridiculous that game developers get away with this bullshit. I fucking hate game developers that do that. That's why my channel is filled with something called shitty development. I attack the developers of this game, too. Because I'm one of these people that rewrite instruction for people. So, gamers have in their head that games have become somehow schoolwork. And you gotta do like a ton of research to figure out how to play them. Or, hey, did you play this? Did you play the previous game? What the fuck you telling me I need to pay $60 to go play another game for to get the instructions in the current game I'm playing? Well, I didn't say that. I'm like, yeah, that's exactly what you just fucking said. You said the instructions for this game are in the previous one. It's like, really? I'm like, listen to what you're saying. And so, it's just, I don't know, game development is becoming, this is why games are so repetitive, because game developers are so out to push everything out the door that they just don't give a shit. And so what they do is they cater to the audience, not realizing it fucks everybody else over that isn't part of that audience. And so one of the main things I go over is like the Mass Effect series. I got a flood wave of shit for the first couple of videos I did on my old YouTube channel. And if you take a look at the Mass Effect 3 video I did, somebody asked me to make it. So I made it. All he did, he wound up unfriending me because he didn't like what I had to say. But he's the one that asked me to make it. I'm like, dude, you asked me to make this video. You're asking me to show you where things are wrong in the game. And all he did was he took his information that he already knew about and tried saying, well, it's obvious. I'm like, you can't take after-the-fact knowledge and apply it to a beforehand situation and then say just because you know something, everybody else should. And then try to use the excuses. It's common sense. That's not even fucking a valid argument. Yeah, I don't... The thing with me is, talking to me about game storylines is useless. I don't pay attention to game storylines. I don't. Now, while I think a game needs some story, I just don't... There's a lot of unnecessary talking in a lot of games, even for games like this. Half of the dialogue that's in them and half of the cinema cuts that are in here don't need to be in here. Now, I'm not saying that's a bad thing. They just don't need to be in here because that could have been used for, you know, purposes of, you know, playing. You know what I mean? You could have added more. I'm not saying that this game needed more, you know, but you get what I'm saying, I think. All right, so can I jump on this guy here? Oh. Terrible. Oh my god, that was fucking terrible.
Stop! You!
That was fucking terrible. Jumped down on the guy and after I landed I assassinated him. Oh, that was just so not right. Alright, let me ask a question here with as we're talking about, you know, game storylines and everything else, and why I say games, there's a lot of unnecessary crap in games and they could have just made the game way better than what it was. I'm not saying that some of these games are bad. I'm just saying they could have actually made the game better by removing a lot of unnecessary bullshit and actually creating a secondary line in the game to actually impact the game itself. So, for example, one of the games I use as this example is Dragon Age Origins. Has anybody here played Dragon Age Origins? And if you have, how well do you remember it? There's two reasons why I was asking that. Okay, Dragon Age Origins basically was story-driven. Now, one of the main reasons I can't stand the Witcher series, okay, is because I want to play a game, not watch a game. It's actually a decent game once you get through all the storyline bullshit. Like, the game is so heavily dialogued, it's ridiculous. And so, I think I read about 1/16 of the dialogue in that game, and I knew everything that was going on. I skipped half of the cinema cuts that were just pointless, that didn't need to be in there. And so, my point with that is that in Dragon Age Origins, what happened is a lot of the useless cinema cuts could have been removed and extra gameplay could have been added, because the way the game's storyline worked is that there's a group called the Grey Wardens, and they were basically the only people that can take out something called the Darkspawn. The Darkspawn is basically a dragon with tainted blood in it, and so a Grey Warden is the only one that can kill those, and in the end the Grey Warden's basically the Grey Warden's life gets taken in the process. Now the thing with this is, nowhere in the game's storyline did it say you had to be a Grey Warden, but the game's choice system basically at the beginning of the game for the origin stories asked you, do you want to be a Grey Warden? No matter what you said, you were forced to do it anyway, thus making the choice that they gave you pointless. Oh, by the way, okay, sad boy, ready for this? Watch, this is what I was talking about the horse, ready? No, let me get... You can't take these guys head on or they'll kill you. See, you keep running them over with the horse and you just keep killing them. They're getting in free hits. It's stupid. Oops, I didn't realize there was some more. And then if you do an adrenaline attack, you'll just like kill everybody. That is a stupid. You should not be able to allow it. You should not be able to use a mount in combat in this game, period. And that's the exact reason why. You can do that. I've killed pharaohs with it. You can kill Pharaoh Shadows doing that. It's ridiculous. You can kill Faleki with it. I did it earlier. Alright, so anyway, back to what I was saying. Alright, so anyway, back to what I was saying about Dragon Age Origins. Now, they put a lot of use, basically forcing you to become a Grey Warden, despite them asking you if you wanted to become a Grey Warden, was useless cinema cuts. There's literally no point in asking you a choice if the choice is going to be forced, no matter what you say. So what you have here is an entire area of the game that could have been removed and used for purposes of a storyline of playing while not being a Grey Warden. And on top of that, there was a section of, there was something called a Grey Warden camp that you went to. And so what happened is, there was a, there was a merchant in the camp that literally says, when you go to him, you know, here, we have a lot of, you know, weaponry, but we have some set aside specifically for Grey Wardens. So, by removing all the useless cinema cuts from that, you could have they could have put in an alternate storyline where you could have taken and said, no, I don't want to be a Grey Warden, but you could still go along fighting anyway and still play, because there's people in the game that wind up that aren't Grey Wardens, but they go along with the fight and help them in battle. So that proves they could have done that. So you yourself don't need to be a Grey Warden. A Grey Warden needs to be, hey, what's up, man? A Grey Warden needs to be present when fighting or killing the dragon. Just because you're not a Grey Warden, that doesn't mean the dragon, you can't end the game. So what happened is, if you take all that stuff I just said and then you apply it to the person that's in the merchant that's in the camp, if you never became a Grey Warden, the merchant would have never said, hey, we have weapons set aside for the Grey Warden. So basically, if you were a Grey Warden, it would reward you with getting specific weapons. So what the point is that they could have taken that entire game story and made two completely different storylines out of it. One, if you were a Grey Warden, and one, if you weren't. And either way, you could have still played the game. So there's a lot of useless cinema cuts and a lot of things in games that are completely 100% pointless. And, you know... Sorry, I'm trying to kill these guys. And so that's the problem with a lot of games. Developers are more focused on story than they are on gameplay, and that's due to gamers. You know what I mean? There's nothing wrong with that, but it basically destroys games, because how many? I don't know if you're a first-person view game or, you know, a view gamer or not, but I can't stand first-person games, and there's a lot of games I know myself and a lot of people would have played had they made the game in both third and first-person views, such as like Morrowind. Sorry, give me a second. And so what you have is people. You basically have the game developers cutting out half of their game audience by catering to a specific crowd of people rather than catering to every crowd. You know what I mean? Because what's funny is Capcom, for the longest time, Resident Evil is a prime example of what game developers do to their game, and then they complain their sales suck. Capcom, I can pull up 6 articles for every Resident Evil game that Capcom says, yeah, we're bringing it back to its roots. We're bringing it back to its roots. We're bringing it back to its roots. And every fucking time, they fuck the game over and they screw up everything else. And they never bring it back to its roots. And so what winds up happening is it screws over the game. So what happens is they released the game in the condition it's in, and then people who played Resident Evil says, we thought you were bringing it back to its roots, and they lose money, and then Capcom complains they lost money. Of course you freaking lost money. Either that, or game developers should not be releasing games on one platform after they said they're going to release them on all of them. All right, for example, I use Resident Evil 6 as an example. Capcom, in every single advertisement, said that they were going to release the game across platform all at the same time. You know, Xbox 360, whatever, you know, Xbox, PlayStation, and computer. What they did was they released it on the consoles and then didn't release it on the PC. And a bunch of people who wanted it on PC were decided to get their money back because they pulled that shit. And so what ended up happening, Capcom lost some money on not that it really matters because the game was ass anyway, but they lost a lot of money on the refunds for the PC version, because what they did was they released it on the consoles, and then after they said they were going to release it on PC, they didn't. Then released it on PC about a year after nobody gave a shit about the game. And then they complained their sales were fucking terrible. And that's just the point that I'm making, because game developers are fucking stupid because they listen to their audience instead of basically telling the audience to go fuck themselves. We're going to make our games the way they want, the way we want. We are not going to listen to you, and if you don't want it, don't play the fucking game. It's that simple. So if they did that more often, and they basically catered to, you know, they catered to the actual game itself instead of listening to people, they'd be better off with the gaming industry. They just would. It's just not just with any, it's with all developers. In a minute, I'm gonna go up here for 1 second after I get this. Oh, am I gonna die? No, that was luck. I'm gonna go get to this fast travel point, and I will be right back because I gotta go. My wife's going to bed, so I'm gonna go tuck her into bed. So I'll be right back. Oh, and by the way, I don't know if I had told you, but if I did, sorry. And if I didn't, I'm gonna tell you. The reason why I'm not doing any of these quests right now is because I'm loading up my quest log, and then I'm gonna go back and do them afterwards. I'm getting all the question marks and locations and getting everything else out of the way first per map section before I go ahead and do the quest and shit. So it's going to be a lot easier to do it that way. That way I'm making sure I get everything done on each section of the map first, then going back and doing everything, because doing this also allows me to get all the fast travel points, so when I go start doing the quest, it's a lot easier to it's a lot easier to move around and stuff. I almost said mess around. So just give me a second. I'm going to go up here, get this fast travel point, and then where the fuck is it? Oh, it's right there. Thought it was on the other land branch. Alright, just give me a few minutes. I'll be back in a minute. I will be right back. Alright, I'm gonna be back. There's a fucking sandstorm here, you gotta be kidding me. So yeah, as I was saying, the Witcher series Part 2. First of all, that game was so poorly programmed that they actually had to put a patch into the game to provide instructions to the damn magic system, which still wasn't explained. So it's like the instructions need instructions, and so I don't know. It's ridiculous. And then I honestly tried playing it again after that, and why did I just fucking do that? I honestly tried playing it again after that, and what I want to... My idea of a level is not following a guy up a ladder for an entire level. I literally fell asleep like 4 times in the beginning of that game, and not because I was tired. It's because the game was fucking terrible. I couldn't stand that much talking in the game. This is a way to get back up there real fast. So let me go over here. I'm gonna have to jump across this, and I don't know if I can make it. Yeah, I can make this, I think. I don't know. I really can't say any specific genre, because it really depends. Now, I'll be honest. I can't say I dislike first-person shooters because I played the piss out of Borderlands. That was a good game. But when it comes to games like Dead Island, would have been better if it was in third person. Like, I'm not the only person to say that. I'm not saying that to be a douchebag. I'm saying that because it's like, if you have a game that's online that you can play like that and another person can see your character, there's literally no reason at all that your character is not in third person, or at least have a way to put it in third person. So, I can't say I dislike first person games, but I really don't like first-person shooters. They're just dime a dozen, and they don't change. They're like Madden games. They don't change. So I don't really know how to answer that, to be completely honest with you. I really don't. I don't think this is right. Is this right? Wait a minute. Oh, yeah, here we go. I hate these. These things suck ass. So, I gotta say... I don't know. I really can't answer that. I mean, it's easy to say games and franchises that you like that broke the boundaries on games. such as far as any of these games go, these are good. Yeah, I guess you can say that. That's a fair assumption. But the thing here is like, when you take a look at this, you can't, when you take a look at the way games are designed in general, there are you know, game developers that basically are, as far as I'm concerned, the king of the genre. So, for example, open world games. Rockstar broke the boundaries on open world games with GTA 3. They are the baseline that started this entire thing. There's a freaking coyote. There's a coyote over here or something. I'm not gonna follow it. Another thing that game developers need to stop doing, which is destroying games, is what they game that one of the games I used at is State of Decay. Okay, I can pull up a magazine quote where the makers of State of Decay said they're not gonna do. I forget what they said. They compared it to some other game, and the freaking comment was really hilarious. And then they turned around and did the exact same thing to the game that they said they weren't going to do. And so one of those is that guy just climbed the freaking rope. Oh shit, he did. Come here, ass. Where the fuck is this guy going? Dude, I can freaking pug. There we go. Alright, that's enough of this. Fucking running up and down the freaking thing. So, like I said, all game developers should put their games in both first and third person view. There's also a lot of other shit that they need to stop. Game developers need to stop doing, which are destroying games. So even though I love third person games, I fucking could not stand Gears of War. And the reason I couldn't fucking stand Gears of War is because I had my eyes strained consistently because of the head bob and camera shake in that fucking thing. So game developers need to pop a way into the game to shut off bloom, all blur effects, motion blur, weapon blur, anything, head bob, and camera shake. They need to have a way to shut all of those options off. I'm not saying remove them from the game, but they need to shut the off. They need to have a way to turn all those options off. Gears of War was wrecked because I couldn't play it because my eyes were strained when the camera was shaking. I couldn't take it. I was literally getting headaches from playing. Well, my eyes were like so strained, it was ridiculous. My eyes actually hurt. And so, it's unfortunate because, again, that's a third-person view game that got fucked over because they can't put an option in the game to shut it off. And, like, what goes through these gamers' heads that they think bloom is a good idea to put in all these games? So, I'm not saying remove the filter. I'm saying have a way to shut the damn filter off. So, for example, if you take a look at this, this particular one. Let me see, what's a really good example here? Okay, depth of field. I always shut that off completely. And the reason behind that is because depth of field blurs anything in the background except what your character is focusing on. If a game is designed itself around, you know, having good graphics, why the fuck would you blur something out in the background? That literally has no logic to it at all. I'm gonna go kill those guys. So there's a lot of shit in these games that game developers need to do. Or I shouldn't say need to do, they really should do because it's fucking over their audience.
Whoa. Hey, nothing gets through. Maybe through me, Gideon.
Yeah, exactly. Now, why should, my point is, why should you have to suffer, or why should somebody have to suffer because the game developers feel that, oh, you know, the community wants it on there? That's not even fucking relevant what the community wants. The game developers need to tell the community to go fuck themselves. We are going to put this, shut it off. Why even make it so it can't be shut off? It literally does nothing for the game except prevent tons of people from playing it, and now they lose money on it. So, if game developers fucking smartened up, they would be better off, and they would have profits that are better. Stop releasing games only on consoles, fucking the PC, you know, fucking one person one over another. Now, I'm not talking about, exclusive games like Microsoft. You know, obviously they're not going to give Sony the rights to Halo. That's not going to happen. Just like Sony's not going to give, you know, some of the stuff that they have, you know, to Microsoft. It's not going to happen. So I'm not talking about exclusive games from specific makers. I'm talking about just stuff in general. Make all games so they go in first and third. Have all games have the ability to both shut off bloom and blur and all types of effects like that. And the overall issue with another thing here is the tutorials. A lot of gamers don't like tutorials in their games, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But what the game developers need to do, that does not mean don't have a tutorial in the game fucking over the people that aren't familiar with the series. Because if you take a look at my Mass Effect video, there is no fucking way anybody that is new to that series who doesn't know anything about the game who's going to be able to play it because of what they did to the game.
Get out of the way! You face the threat.
There's just no way, you know what I mean? So, and it's not just with Mass Effect 3 either. It's with all of them. There's shit in there's, like, if you look at my Mass Effect Andromeda video, there's, like, shit in there that doesn't even fucking make any sense. And the Mass Effect 2 video I made, there's no instructions in a lot of that shit at all. Like, it's fucking ridiculous the shit that they missed in that game. Now, I understand that game developers cater to their audience. I get that. But the game, like Mass Effect games, are absolutely 100% unplayable to anybody who is not familiar with the series. So, the assholes that are picking this shit... Where the fuck is this guy? Oh, there he is. If you, I actually have to remake my Mass Effect 2 video to put it in the shitty development video, but, to put it in the shitty development section, but Mass Effect 2 is a prime example, because even though the developers say, yeah, this is a great way for people to get in, they don't need to know what's going on, that's a crock of shit, because if you look at my videos, I have pulled stuff up that there's no explanation for, and if you actually listen to what I'm talking about, if you go by just what's written on the screen, you can't play the game. It's not even fucking possible. In Mass Effect 2, they put the instructions on how to play the game on a computer that you couldn't get to unless you knew how to play the game, rendering the instructions totally fucking useless. Because what they did was, they put a very specific mechanic in the way of the game where you couldn't even play. Like, you couldn't progress past the point until you did what it was asking you to do. But what it was asking you to do was not even possible because there was no instruction explaining what the fuck they're talking about. So, for example, or let me back up. And one of the problems with the Mass Effect games is that there's inconsistent mechanics in the game. So, for example, walking over a weapon or ammo automatically picks it up. Yet, there are things that you couldn't walk over to pick up. So that's an inconsistent game mechanic. In this game, for example, in Assassin's Creed Origins, why is there two different buttons to mount and unmount That literally isn't inconsistent. Whatever button you use to mount, you should also use to unmount. There's literally no logic to having two completely different buttons to mount and dismount. It makes no sense. So it's an inconsistency. I have no idea where this goes. All right. So anyway, like I said, if you watch my Mass Effect 3 video, anyway, Mass Effect 2. Let me use that as an example.
When we die,
I don't even know if this goes here. Does this go here? Yeah, I think this goes here. Oh, look at that, I got it. Interesting. So anyway, in Mass Effect 2, there are mini hacking games. I don't know if you've ever played Mass Effect 2, but there are mini hacking games in Mass Effect 2. And basically, they have you come across them as you're playing the game in the beginning. However, they don't explain to you how the fucking hacking in the game works, making it impossible for you to hack. And instead of saying, hey, here's a hacking mini game, there's 3 different types, and they're all done differently. To hack this type of game, do A, B, and C, and then have you go through the motions. What they do is they say, oh yeah, to hack this, match the symbols on the screen. And then there's no symbols on the screen, and then there's no instructions on how to get the symbols to show up on the screen in order to match them. It's a dead-end mechanic. And since you're in a tutorial, they are absolutely supposed to be telling you, hey, to match the symbols on the screen in order to hack. Now, in order to get the symbols on the screen, this is what you need to do. And they don't tell you that. But instead, they say, oh, here's a tutorial. That's not a tutorial. That's just fucking plain stupid. Then there was another mechanic where it was something to do with a loadout screen. There was literally no logic behind the loadout screen. But here's the thing. When it comes to a gameplay basic, games are not schoolwork. Did you buy a game to play a game? When you're in the middle of playing a game, stop what you're doing, what you purchased the game to do, to look up how to do something that the game developer should have fucking told you. Nowhere is that ever part of a game. Somehow, games have veered into that category. They've turned into fucking college thesis papers where you have to look up massive amounts of research before you can even fucking play these things. And what really gets me is the fucking idiots who say, oh, you want your handheld? Yes, I do, because that's what the definition of a fucking tutorial is. It holds your hand in a very basic fashion. And then what happens is, oh, you want everything told to you. No, I never said that. That's not even the same concept. So what you have here is fucking idiots who don't know any better, who don't know the difference between hand-holding and a tutorial and instructions and telling you everything to what to do. Because what I basically explain is the rewording of something to cancel any arguments anybody could counter with me on these videos. So for example, when it comes to Mass Effect 3's hacking system, you can simply can the entire... This basically explains everything about the hacking system in one sentence when you come across it. It's like, okay, there are 3 different types of hacking in this game. They're done differently. To hack this game, you do this, A, B, and C. Now go and do it. Then when you come across a second hacking game, here is a different one. Remember, it's not... These aren't done the same way as the first one. To do this one, you do A, B, and C, and they give you an example, and you go ahead and do it. Then they run you into the third one. It's a very simple procedure that explains, first of all, you just told the player that there's 3 different hacking games in the system. Secondly, you've told them that there is hacking in the game. And third, you've given them the example on how to do that hacking game. It's not that hard. But instead, players go, oh, you know, you just want your handheld, or why can't you figure it out? What do you mean, why can't I figure it out? Why should I have to? I'm encountering a mechanic in the game that the developers put in there that it's their product. They need to cater to me because I didn't buy a game to fucking sit and guess or do any work in a fucking tutorial. It's just retarded. The gamers are just dumb. Oh, by the way, now that I'm coming across an elephant, there is no reason at all to do elephants on hard. None. This is the one exception I make. This is one of the exceptions I make to doing nightmare mode. There's no point. I don't do them on hard. I don't do them on anything but easy. Because number one, I know it takes longer to do. Number two, they are a pain in the ass to do. And number three, it just takes longer to fucking do. And you get the same exact reward. So there's no reason to do it on anything except easy. I probably could do it, but I'd be here for like 45 fucking minutes trying this. No, but actually, let me look at. All right. So another thing I was going to make a comment on was the game manual issue. Okay, game manuals are fucking useless if you need instructions for the game manual. And like I said, my Mass Effect 3 video is a prime example of that, because the first thing I go over in that video is the manual. The manual in that game is fucking useless, and I give it a fully detailed explanation as to why. If I was on Nightmare, I'd be dead already. So, my point here is, whether I did this on Nightmare or not, I only get one ability point. So it literally doesn't. Oh, I didn't realize you got items for doing that. Huh. Let's see what that is. First, let me get my ability point going here. And secondly, let me look at that item. It's probably something really idiotic. Here we go. Yeah, see, I wouldn't use that. The one I have is 10 times better. Elevation multiplier is just, it does multiple damage, but my bow I have is just way better because of the stealth damage on it. It's asinine. Alright, so let me, I now need to find out where the hell I'm going here. Alright, so this is all set. Did I finish this map? I did. Interesting. So now, that's all done. Giza. I've actually played Borderlands in third person. There's a way to edit the files that you can get it in third person. I've done it in both third and first person. It's not bad. Oh shit, there's a ton of fucking tomes in this area. What the fuck? Huh, interesting. Yeah, I don't want to do Giza yet. Let me see, what do I want to do? I'll do Sakara Gnome here. So let me go here and right. I need to sell some of this shit, and I need to buy some Heka chest. Yeah, I do a lot of research, and I do a lot of stuff on games. So the point here is that I'm loaded with game information, and I'm not just talking like playability. I'm talking about mechanics, how games are put together. My whole channel rips apart all flaws in games, all of them. And I have fucking people that hate my channel. They're subscribed to me just to find out when I post a new video, just so they can go piss and moan about it on some blog. I have caught game testers, not game testers. Well, they're game testers for the game developers. I have caught them cheating in streams and called them out on it. And of course, you know, no, you know what I mean? Come on. I gotta sell all this crap. I got like so much bullshit here, it's ridiculous. Selling that, I don't need that. Range resistance. I want my Medusa's shield back. I really should never have gotten rid of that. That was literally the best shield I ever had. I have absolutely no reason, no use for, I have no use for any of these materials anymore.
Could use that. Deal. Yes, all right.
Alright, so... What? On my channel?
God's guidance, Voyager. Come, let's
I gotta upgrade this item. I really need to upgrade that item. That was really fucking sad. Alright, so now I'm gonna buy. I gotta go to Retta. See, the thing with my videos is I don't post them. If you notice, all my videos are they're very carefully put together. I don't just say, if you talk to most people, they'll usually say, I don't say most people, but if you talk to some people, you know, about something wrong with a game, a lot of people will say, well, the game sucks. Okay, what about the game sucks? Well, I don't like the combat system. That's not really an explanation. That's just saying you don't like the combat system, but that doesn't, there's no argument there. It's like, what about the combat system sucks? You're just saying it sucks. I don't like the combat system. Okay, what about it don't you like? You don't like the way they turn, you know? You don't like the way they load their gun? You know what I mean? There's all different variations, but just saying it sucks isn't actually an answer. So when I... Really? They're going after that guy? That's fucking hilarious. So the... What am I doing here? So the thing with this is that people like to just piss and moan because I could put a video up on my channel about a car and show the car has a flat tire. And what's going to wind up happening is if I left comments open under that video, this is the reason I don't leave comments open up under my video, is because of bullshit like this. Hold on a second, let me grab this guy. Alright, so I could show a video about a car and show the car has a flat tire. And if I left comments open under that video, what would happen is, these are the types of comments people would be leaving. You're poor because you can't afford tires. My autistic nephew knows how to change a tire. You know, you can take it to a garage. Get a job. You know, you can look up videos on how to change a tire. You're a dumbass because you don't know how to change a tire. And all this stuff that has absolutely no relevance to the video whatsoever. And if I started deleting comments off of that, now I start babysitting the damn channel. And then people are like, well, you know, you can't handle debate because you're deleting comments. No, I'm deleting comments because there was nothing to discuss about the video. I simply posted a video about a car and showed it at a flat tire. What are you discussing? You're discussing my employment? Or your nephew's, you know what I mean? What does that have to fucking do with it? Me showing, great, this car has a flat tire. It literally has no bearing on anything at all. Really? Yeah, let's fucking try this guy.
Stop your shit! You're finished!
So, if I leave comments open, there's nothing to discuss with any video on my channel. Nothing. There's literally no discussion. But people will make arguments out of anything that they can possibly do. And that's just a given. Everybody knows that. It's not really hidden. That's not like anything hidden. But the fact is, people are just dumb. They just do shit because they can. And so, you can't really, I don't want to say you, but in general, anybody trying to argue with anything that's in my videos is a fucking idiot. It's that simple, because like I said, I don't say stuff to say something. I have stuff open. So, if I, like I said, my Mass Effect 3 video, the kid actually started telling me it's my opinion, it's not explained. I'm like, if there's no instructions on the fucking screen, that's not an opinion, that is a fact.
Get ready to move out! This vermin will be on the
gonna get fucked over now.
I have a shot! Target is in range!
Alright, so anyway, like, there's nothing to argue with my videos, because like I said, they're like, oh, it's your opinion, it's not explained, and nobody else had a problem figuring it out. Like, what the fuck does nobody else have a problem figuring it out have to do with me opening up the game, showing there's no instructions on the screen? It doesn't fucking matter whether a bunch of people figured it out. This is about the game developer. The video point blank says this screen's not explained. So why the fuck why are people even trying to argue with me about, well, you're dumb because you can't figure it out? I never said anybody couldn't figure it out. I said there's no fucking instructions on the screen. In which there isn't. Well, that's your opinion. I said, really? If it's my opinion, show me a printed version of the... So I said, you must have a specialized version of the game that says, here's a printed instruction on the screen. So, like I said, I use Mass Effect 2 as a prime example of that, because that's a game that freaking so many people are so in love with that the game developer can't do anything wrong, even when it's shown to be wrong. So people can't be wrong, and then they can't be wrong about being wrong. Prime example of another thing that people do that's stupid is they cause problems with their own games and then blame the developer. Hence where modding problems come from. I basically, for about a year and a half, had been talking to people on the forum, basically explaining that stop pissing and moaning that your fucking Elder Scrolls games are broken when you're using mods made by people who don't know how to properly make mods. Oh no, it's not the game, it's not the mod, it's the game developer doing this, and here's this, and I'm like, the history of this alone proves that mods break the game. How much of a fucking idiot does everybody have to be to not see that? Every Elder Scrolls game that has come out, every one of them, people say, oh, my game has a problem, and then here's all the mods I'm using. Every fucking time. Every single time. And I says, your game is broken because you're using mods. You don't know what you're talking about. So I was like, look, if you don't know how to make a properly programmed mod, you're going to fuck your game up. Baseline. You can argue that all you want, but the baseline shows you're using mods and your game broke. And then you're trying to blame Bethesda because you're breaking games. I said, call Bethesda and watch what happens when you tell them that you have a mod installed and something's wrong with the game. They will tell you they can't even talk to you until you uninstall your mods. Go uninstall your mods and then give us a call back, because we don't support modding. If they don't, and people are like, well, if they didn't support modding, they wouldn't release the modding tools. No, because if you read the actual terms of agreement for the modding, the tools for modding the game are not to mod the game. They're to enhance your own play experience solo. That's what it's there for. It actually says that. So what you have here are a bunch of people who don't understand how modding works, making videos on how to make mods, and then fucking everybody's game up, and then everybody's game gets fucked up from using mods, and then they blame the game developer, and then say something's wrong with the game. Well, the fact of the matter is, I had for a while been posting information on why the games are broken when you use mods. People are like, oh, you know, you're telling people not to use mods. I said, I never said don't use mods. I said, if you're going to use mods, don't complain your game is broken because you fucked up your game and are using mods from people who don't know how to program the mods. It's that simple. And I had a video tutorial series on exactly how to properly make mods. So I used to say something in all my video tutorials for that. I said, there is a difference between using the creation kit to make a mod and making a mod using the creation kit. People didn't understand what that meant. But if you actually followed my instructions in the tutorial that I explained about how modding works and what happens when you don't make something properly, what happens to the game, it makes sense. Somebody's like, that's the same thing. I'm like, it's not the fucking same thing. It isn't. And so what happens is, I had been telling people that. People might, oh yeah, you don't know what you're talking about, blah, 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 blah. 2 years of that shit. People taking shit off of forums, game facts, every place else. But here's the interesting part. All the shit that everybody said I was wrong on for over 2 years, all my information was taken and posted on the Nexus. By some asshole fucking took all my information and basically stole it. And never credited me for it, never quoted me on it, no nothing. And what wound up happening was... Hold on a second, let me get these guys. I'm probably gonna get fucking killed now.
Protect the HUD! No!
Let me get these guys real quick first. Alright, so anyway, after about a year, 2 years of me saying everybody's wrong about what they're doing, and, you know, oh, you're going against the community, you telling a bunch of million people, oh, you're a troll, don't listen to him, he's a troll, and everything else, right? What wound up happening was, the shit that I had been saying was taken and put it on the Nexus. All of a sudden, the information became legitimate because it was on the Nexus, and everybody started listening to it. I went back and I fucking told everybody in the forum. All of a sudden, now you're agreeing with it because on the Nexus, I said, that is all the shit I had been telling you guys. That's my information that you had basically told me I'm full of shit on, but now it's on the Nexus. You're not going to tell the Nexus they're full of shit? You just spent 2 years telling me that information was, you're full of shit, I'm full of shit, I'm a troll and everything else. And now, because it's on the Nexus, it becomes legitimate? I said, really? I said, you guys are fucking retarded. So, it goes to show you how hypocritical people are. So, even though after a year of doing that, the people were still stupid enough... I don't even know where the fuck these are. There we go.
I'll skewer him! There you are.
Where the fuck is this other guy? There he is. So, but here's the thing. There's no way to hide, there's no way for the Nexus to hide that information didn't come from me. Because all the information that's on the Nexus was taken, like that they took and posted from me, was posted by people on multiple websites throughout 2 years. With my name quoted on it. There's no way that the Nexus can take credit for it because my name was all over the place with it. And so, the first 25 minutes of my tutorial, series was explaining to people how the game worked. That was the first 25 minutes of my tutorial, was explaining exactly how the game was programmed, like how Skyrim was programmed. Bethesda programmed it a very specific way to do something specific, and gamers disagreed with it, so they basically said the game was bugged. Half of the shit that people said is bugs isn't. And the reason people's games get fucked up is because they're using console commands. Console commands are very damaging to the game, and everyone's like, well, it fixes this. It may have fixed your current problem, but probably broke 20 other different places in the game for you. Now, people are like, well, I've been using these mods and never had a problem with it. I never said you didn't have a problem with the mod, but that doesn't mean the problem doesn't exist just because you never saw it. That just means you never came across it. But the problem still exists in the game, even if you never see it. And so this is all the shit that people are too stupid to understand. They'd rather, well, I didn't have a problem with it, or this, that, and the other thing. That's not fucking relevant to the fact that the problem's there. You could have like 20 mods in the game that all break the game, but if you never come across the point that it breaks the game, you'll never see the problem. So you will say, I'm using these mods and never had a problem. You're right, you never did have a problem, but that doesn't mean the problem isn't there. It just means you just never saw it. So that's the difference between the way people use their fucking heads and they don't understand. It's fucking really idiotic what they do. They just don't understand. And even if you point that out, people still won't pay attention to it. I've had people tell me, what are you going to tell 1 million people that they're wrong? And I said, well, let me ask you this, or let me point this out. If there's a place that people are getting information from, and that one place is giving out incorrect information, and everybody that goes there holds that place in high regard, that means a million people, yes, are all wrong, because a million people are going to the same place that has wrong information, which means now everybody that goes to that place has incorrect information. So yes, if that's the case, a million people are wrong. A mass consensus doesn't make a fact, nor does it make something right. It just makes a mass consensus agreement. And unfortunately, the masses on the internet are what matter instead of facts. So there's nothing you can do about it. And what's really interesting is that people think that you can copyright mods. That's the funny part about this. You absolutely cannot copyright a mod. It's not possible. Once a mod has been made and uploaded to the internet, it belongs to the gaming company. It no longer belongs to you. It doesn't even matter if you do all the work on it. It's not yours. And there's no possible way you can copyright it. Because it uses the game's engine, it uses the game's graphics and everything else. So without the game, you can't use the mod. Therefore, any mods uploaded are property of the game company. Did I just kill 2 people at once? Oh, that's fucked up, man. The hell is this asshole? Wow, that's ridiculous. So you can, I tell people all the time, you don't own this. You can't tell somebody to fucking, well, they can't use it. You can take any mod off of the Nexus, despite what the Nexus says. You can take any mod for any game that's on the Nexus, upload it as your own, and not give credit to the owner, and there's not a fucking thing that the owner can do about it. Well, I made it from scratch. It's not your mod. The only people that can go after you is the game company. Because, like I said, if you want a mod to yourself to make it belong to you, don't upload it to the internet. As soon as you upload it to the internet, it's no longer yours. It automatically becomes property of the gaming company. And the terms of service in the game absolutely say that. And those are the terms of service you agree to. And this is the thing that pisses people off. They're like, that doesn't work like that. Yeah, actually it does. So it's quite interesting to read people think they know how things work, and then actually read people who actually know how things work. That's the difference. And so, I mean, is it a douchebag move to take someone's stuff? Yeah, but guess what? It's not illegal. It's like, I do stand-up entertainment. I'm an entertainer. I do magic as well as comedy. I'm more of a magician than a comedian. But one of the things I go over on my comedy show is people think that certain things are illegal, and they're not. Is it unethical and will it piss people off? Absolutely, but it's not illegal. One of these things I explain is taking things out of people's shopping carts. I'm not saying go do it, but it's not illegal. People think it's somehow fucking illegal to take something out of somebody's food shopping cart. No, it's fucking not. Because if it's in the store, it's not theirs until they bought it. Don't do it out in the parking lot. But if they're in the store with it in the cart, guess what? You can fucking reach into somebody's cart and take shit. Will it piss people off? Absolutely. But they can't, what are they going to do? Tell you you're stealing? You're not stealing because they didn't buy it yet. Now, if they bought it, that would be a different story, but they would have to prove they bought it. But they're in the store, so that's not even a valid argument. They've never owned games. You have never owned a game, ever. And here's the thing, this revolves around DRM. I've had to educate people on what DRM actually is. DRM stands for Digital Rights Management. It's not a security issue. People think, oh, I cracked the DRM. You can't crack DRM because DRM is not a thing. DRM is the terms of service that bind the agreement to the user that says you are going to use this the way we tell you to. That is the DRM. That is the rights management you are authorized to use by the company who made said product. Without a terms of agreement, there's nothing to tie a user to say how any product has to work. The agreement comes from, the agreement is the DRM. That's the mistake people make. They don't realize that that's how it works. So when people say, oh, I cracked the DRM, what, you opened up a terms of service and cracked it? That doesn't make any fucking sense. But all the stuff I'm talking about right now is stuff that people are so brainwashed from that they don't even realize what the fuck they're saying. They just don't. And it's funny listening to this because it goes against your normal perception because of what people talk about on the internet. And that's just it. That's my whole point. Wait, did I take this off easy? Oh god, I probably didn't take this off easy. Oh my god, it's still on easy. That's retarded. Alright, now I'm on nightmare. I'm like, okay, that's not, something's not right here. Okay, here's the thing. Alright? Regardless of whether you own a physical copy or not, has no relevance. You own the disc, you don't own what's on it. The license right is what tells you you have the authorization to use what's on the disc. So what happens here is what you never actually pay for a game. What you're paying for is the CD key, which is the license access right to use the game or use the product. You don't even own it. So the files aren't what you're paying for. It's the rights. That's why it's like almost like a generic brand versus a named brand. The more money you pay, you're paying more money on a generic brand of something for, let's say, clothing, when the name brand is the exact same clothing, just with a different label. Now, it doesn't work like that with all products, but that's the baseline of what you're paying for in a game. People are like, oh, I own the disc. You own the disc, but you don't own what's on it. Read the terms of service. Even if you don't install it, you don't own what's on the disc, period. And that's why these assholes with the Mass Effect bullshit about, oh, the disc locked content and things like that, they were pissing and moaning because they thought they had a valid point about, well, I bought the disc. Yeah, but you don't own what's on it. And on top of that, the character was not the DLC. The mission was. The mission just unlocked the character that was on the disc. So people didn't even have a valid argument with that, even though that's the way it stood. Another thing is downgrading graphics. That's another fucking problem people have. Alright? There's no such thing as a downgraded graphic in any game that's been released. Watch Dogs, none of that shit was true. That was a bunch of fucking morons who decided to start a problem, and because of who said it, they were held in high regard and everybody believed them, and then that started a shitstorm. It's like these assholes who fucking say celebrities die on Facebook, and all of a sudden it becomes a rumor and it spreads around. Who fucking starts that and who believes it? And so the same thing applies to this. When you have idiots, and I call them idiots, when you have idiots trying to make comparisons about video games and shit like that, what's funny is they call it false advertising. But the reality is, if these assholes are calling that false advertising, then they should also be pissing and moaning that the milk in their cereal is not Elmer's glue when they get it. And the reason I bring that up is because advertising, when it comes to false advertising, product look, color, name, everything else has absolutely no relevance to false advertising. Okay, you still don't own the game. You have the license right to use it because Sony says you have the right. Because what you're not paying for the media. You're paying for the license to use the media. That's what your money is going to. No, well, if somebody comes in and just steals the copy doesn't stop you from, the copy being removed does not stop you from playing the game if it's on your hard drive. What stops you from playing the game is the ability to access the game. I gotta find out where the fucking entrance to this place is. So there's a fine line between... There's literally a fine line between owning something and renting something. Okay, prime example. You got a Netflix account? That's actually a really good example. Netflix account. Yes, but here's the thing. It wouldn't matter if you had a... Because I could give you a copy of the game to install it. You couldn't install it without the CD key. You still needed the key to access the game. It wouldn't matter if you had the hard copy of the game. Okay, the reason I brought up Netflix is because Netflix movies are built into the server. You don't actually have them. In order for you to gain access to them, you pay Netflix a license right to access their server. That's what you're doing. You're not paying to rent them. Oh, I can watch any amount of movies I want. Yeah, because Netflix accounts allow that. That's what they're doing. That's the point I'm making. There's no physical media involved, and even if somebody steals your TV, it doesn't stop you from logging into your Netflix account from a computer. You know what I mean? It doesn't work like that. So you have removing the physical media or something doesn't stop somebody from playing something. What stops somebody from playing something is to remove the license right. So again, you've never owned any game. Nobody has ever owned a game or anything else. They rent it. So that's why I said the whole Mass Effect 3 bullshit that fucking people started this shitstorm with about, well, you know, the DLC character. It's like, shut the fuck up. The DLC was not the character. It was the fucking mission. You had to go on the server to get the mission. The mission unlocked the character. Well, it's on the disc. I own it. No, you don't own it. You don't own anything on the disc, so shut the fuck up. There's no argument. But as I was back to what I was saying about the non-downgrading of graphics. There's no such thing as a downgraded graphics version of anything. The reason behind that is because Watch Dogs, okay? In order for something to be downgraded, it has to have been made to begin with. It has to have been fully made, and then the finished product has to be taken and then dumbed down. Watch Dogs had a very specific demo used. And that was it. And it wouldn't matter if that's the impression that they gave off about what was supposed to be in the game. That is how advertising works. It makes it look better than it is, and a company's always going to give you the best know-how, even if the company's not like that. And so, what happens here is people are like, oh, they lied to us. Where? Find me anything that's, well, you know, they showed this demo. Yeah, and you're a fucking dumbass for automatically assuming the game is going to look like that from an unfinished product. But unfortunately, a certain group of people got together that had high stature and high standards in the community and started these rumors, and basically the company got a shitstorm for absolutely because these people decided to be douchebags. That's what that argument was about. Watch Dogs never had downgraded graphics. And the way you explain that, where the fuck is the entrance to this thing? I can't find this. Alright, so anyway, one of the things I was saying is, people actually tried using the excuse, well, the coding is still there. Yeah, of course the coding is still there, because that's how they program it. Think of a processor for a computer. Alright? Your computer is a processor that... You have a processor in your computer that does something specific. That processor is built, sped up, and then it's toned down so everybody can use it or access it. Because if you have a processor that's running too high, you would need a very specific fan that not everybody would be able to afford. Now, that is why you're able to jack up a processor to be able to do that type of speed, because that speed was built into the processor to do it in the first place. So, by speeding up a process, by making a processor run at speed and then toning it down, would be the equivalency of building a game at high graphics and then toning the graphics down. Of course you can get it to run. Of course you can get a processor to run that high. It's built. It was originally built to do that, meaning it was never turned off from that because that's how they built it, and then they toned it down so people could use it. But when you do a game, people won't look at it like that. Well, they downgraded the graphics. They didn't fucking downgrade the graphics. What they did was they fucking built the graphics to run a certain way and then toned it down so it could run on everybody's system. That's what they did. So the coding is still in the game, in the same fashion that the processor is still designed to run in that same fashion. So it's the exact same concept, but the problem here is you got a bunch of douchebags that were in high standards with the community that started a shitstorm out of nothing. And it wouldn't matter if anybody explained what I just explained. Nobody was going to pay attention to it because the people in high standards said, you know, or the people in high stature said, oh, you know, well, they did bad graphics, and this proves it. Really? So it's really retarded what people do. Ah, here we go. All right, this is why I couldn't find the entrance. So does any of that make sense now that I've said that? That's just the unfortunate system that people don't know how to use their head, and they're always being stupid when it comes to things. And that's why I attack people on the forums and stuff like that, because they're just stupid. If people actually did their research properly, they would understand this. You know what another thing that fucking gets me is people who think that they are people who think that they're getting more than 60 frames per second in a game. That's another thing that really fucking I find hilarious. I think I came from that way. Yeah, I went from that way. Yeah, but what are you getting angry over? Like I said, what are people getting angry? What exactly are you getting angry over? The only person that gets angry over anything is yourself. And that's because they chose to do something that's really dumb. I'm sorry, it just is. You know, you can't yell at a game developer because you chose to say, well, and you chose to decide for the game developer that's how the game was going to be. Nowhere does the game developer ever say. If somebody believes that's what a finished product is going to be, alright, let me simplify this. People that get angry about that in games need to be getting angry about that at every single product in existence, because that is the definition of what product release does. Okay, so for example, food on TV is a prime example. The milk in cereal commercials in bowls is Elmer's glue. So to get pissed about a game developer lying to people about a game not having good graphics is the equivalency of you getting pissed off about not getting Elmer's glue in your cereal when you buy it. It's literally, it's a lie. They are lying to you saying that the milk looks that good. But in reality, that is what is in the cereal. So when they're advertising the cereal, they're advertising the cereal comes with Elmer's glue. In retrospect, that's the same exact thing as people saying, well, the game developer lied because they gave us these graphics. No, that doesn't fucking matter. Nowhere, it doesn't, they don't have to give you the graphics. Here's an example. Let me give you another example of this. Okay, Watch Dogs 2. Let me just put this into perspective. Okay, Watch Dogs. Ubisoft could have released a Mario-style character, okay, that popped out on the cell phone on a billboard coming out, and they could have had it in 16-bit graphics, and they would never have been false advertising. People would have pissed and moaned. Now, would that be good for business? No. But they wouldn't be false advertising, and this is the reason why. Because the product is Watch Dogs. It's a hacking game. It's a game about hacking. It's about using your phone. So it doesn't matter whether the phone is blue, purple, green, red. It doesn't matter if the phone is a fucking vase or a car, or where the phone is showing up. Did they deliver a phone in the game that was hacking stuff in the game? Yes. So it doesn't fucking matter what it looks like. And that's the thing that people don't understand. They don't even have to deliver the game if they don't want to. The fact is, they delivered Watch Dogs, which is a game that used your cell phone to hack. In no way, in shape or form at all, was there any... Did they have to deliver the game in any set fashion? As long as they delivered those things in the game, they have not false advertised. Because false advertising doesn't apply to graphics, packaging, color, wording, doesn't matter. Has no relevance to that at all. And that's the mistake people make. No Man's Sky, the the developers never actually told you that No Man's Sky was going to be like that, I don't think. They never said, we are going to do this. I think they said, we are going to try to do this. I could be wrong in that, but No Man's Sky was just a bad attempt. I mean, games fall through the cracks anyway.
What is this?
The Cobra killed him. Why am I carrying this guy? Fuck is that? What the fuck? Oh, I was like, what the hell's going on with this? So do you understand what I'm saying now? It's like there's a lot of shit that gamers do and say because they don't understand how things work. They blindly copy other people that have no idea what they're doing, and then before you know it, you got a bunch of people running around that are all doing stuff just because everybody else is doing it. And then it's it. It's like the word autistic. People say that, oh, you know, this chat is autistic because a bunch of people are yelling. That's not what the definition of autism means. Actually, if a bunch of people are yelling in the chat, that's the exact opposite of autistic. So, again, this is just people using a word because some other asshole started using it, and then you got a bunch of idiots that are blindly copying people that have no idea what they're talking about. And like I said, people ask me, you're going to tell a million people that they're wrong? Well, if a million people are all using false information they're all getting from the same place, and the place they're getting the information from is wrong, then yes, a million people are wrong, because just because you're all in agreement with it doesn't make you right, and doesn't make it a fact. So that's just the extent of how that works. So let me get out of this tomb since this is done. I'm going to fast travel out of here. I don't feel like get out of that. So that is the baseline of, you know, how the stuff works. And why I know the terms of service so good is because I've been banned from every single online Elder Scrolls game ever made by that will ever be made by ZeniMax Media Incorporated Online because I took them to court. Okay, good. It depends what one. Fighting games, in my opinion, are like first-person shooters and Madden games. They've been done to death and they're just getting stale now. And, I don't know, it's kind of like weirded out. Yeah, so basically what happens is, alright, to be completely honest with you, putting aside the arcade, like the actual arcade where you go in and you put a quarter in a machine, you know, whatever. If you look at all the, let's say all the Mortal Kombat games, right? All of them, you know, from the first one to what the one is now, you know, past Mortal Kombat X or whatever the hell it is. If you take a look at the progression on those, they're literally, after a certain point, are nothing but the same exact game over and over and over again. Madden, The only difference between Madden is they change one player on a team or 2 players on a team, change some of the rosters, and then they plaster it with another Madden game. A really good example on what game developers do to their games is for me to reference you to Tron 2.0. Have you ever seen that movie, Tron 2.0? Okay, I'll explain the situation in Tron 2.0, and this will put the entire gaming, it's not just gaming, it's all products into perspective for you. Because there's a comment that's said in that movie in a board meeting between people who are in a board meeting trying to sell this product, and basically they would it's kind of one of those things that it would be basically them talking about Microsoft Windows, okay? So, here's what you have. There's a board meeting going on, and there was a guy, there's usually one legitimate person in the company, and the rest of the company's trying to fuck the people over in the public by overcharging them shit. Because, in my opinion, there's no reason for a freaking operating system to be $200. There's no reason for an operating system to even be $100. Operating system should be like $30, period. And so, in this board meeting in Tron 2.0, they were basically getting ready to release this product. It would be like Microsoft Windows 12 or something like that. So anyway, what wound up happening was they, in the board meeting, the guy somebody said, the legitimate person said to the rest of them, it's like, okay, given what we charge for this product, like how much we charge how much we sell it for, to the students and the business owners and everybody else, given how much we charge for that, what sort of improvements have been made from version 11? You know what the guy in the board says? Oh, this year we put a 12 on the box. It's fucking ridiculous what game developers do. If I don't know, if that doesn't put it into perspective for people, I don't know what does. What's giving how much we charge for this product? What makes this? What sort of improvements have been made from 11? Well, this year we put a 12 on the box. Are you fucking kidding me? Well, here's the thing. As silly as that sounds, that's what product makers do. When you look at an iPhone, okay, that's a really good example of that horseshit I just explained. Okay, an iPhone. People are I always laugh at people who say, well, my iPhone can now, watch videos on it. It wasn't able to before. No, if your iPhone was not able to watch the videos it's watching, you wouldn't have been able to actually do it. The fact is, the iPhone was always able to watch the videos that you normally couldn't watch. It was just locked. So when, in retrospect, an iPhone, an i7, or I'll use starting at i5. I was starting at i6. All right, an i6 is actually nothing more than an i7 with all the features locked in it. When they release an i7, it's already capable of doing half the shit that the iPhone 8 can do, except they lock it behind a paywall, and if you want to use those services, they make you pay for them, because that's the way the companies make money. Those are microtransactions, no different than gaming developers saying, hey, we're going to make a game, but this DLC, I think we're going to keep the part of this out and then sell it so we can make some money off of it afterward. It's fucking stupid. Now, here's the interesting thing about microtransactions. I don't mind microtransactions because I just don't really pay attention to what a game company does. If they want to fucking make microtransactions, make them. The game company can do whatever the fuck that they want. Same thing with any other product. But let me ask you a question. Do you like microtransactions? I don't care whatever answer is fine. I'm just asking you this to explain something to you. Or I actually should ask you, when you hear about people pissing and moaning about microtransactions, they don't like them. Right, okay, it depends on the game. But But let me put this into perspective. I didn't ask you. Here's the thing. I don't want to sound rude when I say this, but you actually avoided the question. I didn't ask you if you like microtransactions in certain games. Do you like microtransactions? So the answer that you would give me is yes. It doesn't matter what game it's in. The fact of the matter is, you like it in some games makes you like microtransactions, because if you don't like microtransactions, you wouldn't like it in any game because you don't like microtransactions. The game isn't relevant. It's the microtransaction that is. That's one of the points I was getting at. I didn't want to sound like a rude douchebag, but that's the reality on it. People are trying... The issue isn't what game the microtransactions are in. The issue is microtransactions. You can put microtransactions in anything. You either like them or you don't. The fact that you don't mind them in some game means you don't mind microtransactions. Because if you did, you wouldn't even like them in the games that they're in. Do you see what I'm saying? It's kind of like a catch-22 situation. You can't say you like something just only in certain games. Well, you can, but it's not the same thing as saying, oh, I only like certain games. Now, I don't like first-person shooters, but I'm not going to say first-person shooter games are garbage. A lot of them are, but you have to acknowledge the fact that some first-person shooter games are okay. Okay, you mean pay to win. That's not what I'm asking. Well, I guess you could say microtransactions, yeah. But here's the thing. Nobody's forcing you to play the game. Now, the point I'm making to this is I happened to go into Walgreens one Thanksgiving. And I was with my wife, who at the time wasn't my wife, and I was with her brother and everything else. And I looked at the manager, and he says, "What the fuck are you doing open now?" I basically said it to him. I said, "What are you doing open now for?" And he points around and looks at the store, saying, "Well, look around you." I turned to him and said, "These people wouldn't be in here now if you weren't open, would you?" The point I'm making is, just like a bunch of gamers can't stand microtransactions, people are always pissing and moaning that they have to work on holidays. And the reason that they have to work on holidays is because customers go into the store. The reason that microtransactions are made in games is because people keep buying them. If people really hated microtransactions to the point where they didn't like it, they would stop buying them. Period. If people really couldn't stand going to work on a holiday, if society stayed out of stores, at least in the United States, if society stayed out of stores on holidays for one day on that holiday, and they kept doing that over and over and over again, if society stopped going to stores on holidays, stores would be closed on holidays because nobody would be going in them. But the fact is, if a store stays open, somebody's going to go in it. So that will never happen. And so people that piss and moan about something do nothing to change it. And so people that don't like microtransactions keep buying microtransactions, or people keep buying them because the game developer makes them, and the game developer makes them because people keep buying them. So it's a vicious circle. So it doesn't matter whether people don't like them. It matters if people are buying them. That's the issue. Just like in the same fashion, it doesn't matter what game the microtransaction is. If you're buying microtransactions, that means you don't have any problem with microtransactions. It doesn't matter the game you're doing it in, you just don't have a problem with them. Because you may not like the game that the microtransaction is, but you're just not going to buy it for that game. But that doesn't mean you don't like microtransactions. That just means you don't want to agree with it in the game. Do you see what I'm saying? So the concept to what I'm talking about isn't an individual issue, and it doesn't have to do with the product. It has to do with the overall issue that people are not paying attention to. And that is the actual problem with society and the way gamers are in general with random things. Gamers will piss and moan to no end about stupid shit that they do nothing to change about. You know, you get a whole bunch of people complaining about this, and yet they're out there doing what they're complaining about, because to them, like for example, gamers will because they don't mind, like, all right, I'll use your example. I'm just using this as an example. I'm not targeting you with this, so don't take this the wrong way. You would actually say you don't like microtransactions because it's in a certain, but you will only say the microtransactions are bad in games that you don't buy them in. You see what I'm saying? You will say microtransactions are okay in the games you like. Because that's the way the human mind works. You'll always side with your own viewpoint, and then you will say your viewpoint is an exception to what you're talking about. The fact of the matter is, buying microtransactions means you don't have a problem with it. I don't have a problem with it. I mean, I'm not saying anybody should or they shouldn't. People can do whatever that they want. My point is that pissing and moaning about microtransactions isn't going to change anything. What changes something is that people boycott something to stop it from happening. Because if it stops it from happening, the game developers will realize, oh yeah, we're not making money off of this. We need to stop. So, but what will happen is you'll have a bunch of people pissing and moaning about microtransactions, but then trying to make exceptions for buying microtransactions in games that they're in love with, while condemning other games that do it. That's totally hypocritical. But that is the human that is the human nature. That's how humans are. Even me. I mean, I try not to do it because I try not to make exceptions. If I say, you know, all right, here's a really good example of this. If you go out to eat with somebody and somebody says, hey, get whatever you want, why do people start pissing and moaning when they start ordering expensive things on the menu? You just fucking told me to get everything I want. Now, I actually had this situation happen where somebody told me to get what I wanted, and then people started trying to make me feel guilty. And I said, don't fucking, I said, what the fuck's going on here? You said, get what you want, and now you're trying to tell me, get what I want, but don't get what I want. So, when we were out later on, I was paying for somebody else, and the same person that was there, I says, get what you want. I said, if you want whatever it is, get whatever the fuck you want on the menu. It doesn't matter how much it costs. He goes, well, at least you practice what you preach. I said, I wouldn't have told you to get whatever you want if I didn't want you to get whatever you wanted to. So it's amazing how the human mind works. So if I just say if I get something expensive, because somebody said get what you wanted, and then I turn around and said get what you want, but was saying, oh, don't get that, I'd be a fucking hypocrite. So it's just amazing how people say stuff and then try to say, well, keep it consideration. Why? That doesn't even fucking make any sense. Then don't tell me to get what I want. And so gamers are like that in general. Gamers are like so, I don't know, gamers have something wrong with them. They really do. And this is one of the main reasons I don't have moderators on my channel. I don't allow moderators on my channel at all. I don't kick anybody out of a stream. I don't kick anybody out of chat. I don't put anybody in timeout. I don't use MoveBot. I don't use anything else. Do you know why? I'm not a fucking babysitter. And everybody has their own control over their own chat about what they see. I love these people that were fucking... That's why if you actually look at my Toxic Gamer video... my Toxic Streamer video, I go over this. I was actually recording these fucking two douchebags that were friggin' streaming, and it was fucking ridiculous what they were doing. One of them actually fucking threatened one of the people in there. Whether they did it or not, whether they can do it or not, isn't the fucking point. The point is, just saying it is a problem. And so you have toxic gamers being... toxic streamers being fucking stupid. And so if you take a look at that video that's on there at some point, you'll see how ridiculous it is. So what happens here is the reason I don't use moderators on my gaming channel, I shouldn't say it's my gaming channel, that's another thing, it's not your gaming channel. You don't own the channel. You were given a channel, not you, but I'm saying in general. People are like, oh, it's my stream. No, it actually isn't your stream. It's a stream you were given permission to have by the makers of whoever's hosting the site. And so what I tell people is, oh, it's my stream. No, it isn't. You don't fucking own it. Right now, this isn't my stream. This is YouTube's stream, and they allow me to have a section in it, which is a privilege to me. It doesn't fucking matter what I say. I have to follow YouTube's rules because they override mine. Because YouTube is allowing me to use their site. I should say Google. Because when you say YouTube, you're actually saying Google. Google owns YouTube. So anyway, the point that I'm making is that YouTube, the reason moderators don't belong in a chat, in a game chat, is because there is an ignore or block feature. If you do not want to listen to somebody, guess what? Block them. Problem fucking solved. I don't need a moderator. You don't need a moderator to block somebody for you. You have absolute total control over your own chat. So the only people that get pissed off in a chat are the people themselves. Instead of using block, so they don't have to listen to it, they try to cry and cause problems. If you're too stupid to fucking use ignore, then you deserve to be annoyed. And so, if there was no block or ignore feature, that would be a totally different story. But there is. There's a block and ignore feature on every chat, which removes the need for a moderator. The block is the moderator. So people acting like they have, you know, they're moderators or whatever, it's fucking ridiculous. That is the dumbest fucking thing I've ever heard. Because people will ban people and bar people from chats for disagreeing with them. The terms of service actually state that's not a valid reason. Oh, it's my channel, I can do what I want. No, it's not your channel, it's YouTube's. And YouTube's terms of service state you are not allowed to be doing that. So therefore, if you were doing that, they're abusing the stream, and therefore, they should not be allowed to be streamed. They should have their streaming rights revoked. Period. So what you have here is a bunch of fucking hypocritical assholes who like to cause problems with people. You know, it's fucking stupid. It really is. Can I even get up there? I think if I go this way, I'm dropping down in there. But that's the reason I don't use moderators. Now, here's the thing. People will always... This one really pisses people off. People are always saying, well, you know what? Too fucking bad. I don't really care. If somebody gets it, if somebody's offended, oh, so fucking what? I'm offended by that. So fucking what? Nobody, you know what I mean? I'm not going to stop what I'm doing to fucking appease you. It's not going to happen. People are like, well, that's not right. So basically, you're telling me how to fucking act towards somebody? So basically, if I don't act a certain way to somebody, you're going to tell me I'm wrong. So that's you trying to get your way. I'm not saying you, I'm saying people in general. And if I start acting wrong to somebody, you're going to start telling me what I'm doing is wrong to try to make me feel bad. And guess what? You're still trying to get your way. So you can't get your way by getting me to do something. But now, you're trying to get your way by throwing a fit and telling me because you can't get your way, you're going to throw a fit. It's literally the stupidest fucking argument I've ever seen. Somebody's like, well, I'm offended by that. Too fucking bad. Leave. Don't listen to me. The only person keeping you here is you. Well, you know, you should have some common courtesy for people. Says who? You? What? So now you're telling me I should have common courtesy for people? That's you trying to tell me how I fucking need to be. They're like, you're telling me I need to listen to you? Yeah, I am. And I'm telling you, you have to. You're telling me I have to listen to you, and if I don't, I have to listen to you. Is it really? This forced acceptance bullshit is a fucking problem. It really is a problem. This is what I was looking for. Was this? So the point is that people are just so fucking stupid and hung up on themselves. But that's not it. They have a right to not be sensitive, but that's not even the fucking point with this. The point is, forced acceptance is a problem. And forced acceptance is nothing more than people trying to get their way by throwing a fit and telling other people that they need to get their way. So, alright, prime example of this. There was some fucking douchebag that was the cross-dresser was going to become a woman, or I don't fucking know what it was. But the university he was in refused to let him use the bathroom as a female. They refused to do it. Because, just so you know, the word trans, any gender, when you put a gender in front of the word trans, that is not a legitimate, that's nothing. It's not even a real word. That is a made-up word that society has been trying to force into the English language. But the reality is, the English language, there is no dialect in the entire world, and there is the language does not acknowledge the term trans. It's nothing. Trans is not even a word. It's not part of the English language. It's not part of any dialect or anything else. It's made up, and therefore, the mechanics on language and the dialects that exist tell you trans is not a word. There's no such thing as transgender. Homophobic is not a word. Homophobe, it's not a word. That is a made-up word to try to get people, oh, you're a homophobe. What does that even fucking mean? That's not even... Look up the word homophobe in the Oxford Dictionary. You won't find it because it doesn't exist. It's not a word that is acknowledged in the language, in the barrier of language. And so, people again try to take a mass consensus and brute force it into society. So here is how gender works. Your chromosomes make you what you are. You cannot remove your original chromosomes from your body, no matter how much surgery you have, no matter how much fucking medication you take, or no matter what the fuck a piece of paper says. You're born a male. Your chromosomes and genes make you a male, and you will always be a male no matter what the fuck you do to yourself. Same thing with a female. You're born a female, your chromosomes make you a female. Therefore, you will never be anything but a female. So for people to go, oh, I'm a male, but I was born a female. No, you're not a fucking male, you're a female. Well, this and that. No, you're a fucking female. Go use the women's room. Period. Get the fuck out of here. And so, other people are like, that's not sensitive. I don't give a fuck if it's sensitive or not. The fuck you trying to say genetics are not what they are? You're basically trying to tell science it's wrong. Well, science proves this. No, science didn't prove that. The bottom line is your fucking genetics make you up what you are. You cannot change your genetics, no matter what you fucking do. I love the examples that people try to use. Well, you know, you changed this and this. That is not the fucking same thing. Well, I can change a dollar bill into 4 quarters. It's not a dollar bill anymore. That's not the fucking same thing. You know what I mean? It's just these stupid fucking comparisons that people come up with that don't even make any sense. Now, to them it makes sense, but it's really ridiculous that they even come up with this shit. No, that's fine. Whatever. I've been fucking rambling. I've been really rambling anyway, so it doesn't even matter. I'll let you go, man. I probably scared out half of my fucking lobby anyway. What? This game? Let me quickly explain to you what makes up a good tutorial. Okay, let me explain what basically makes up a good tutorial, because it doesn't matter what game it is. The procedure for a tutorial, in order for it to actually be a true tutorial, it must be put together like this. Now, actually, this was something else I was going to bring up about, you know, gamers not wanting, you know, things explained to them and shit and things like that. But that doesn't mean that that stuff should not be explained. It just means it should still be explained, but put in a place that everybody agrees with. So, do I agree with game developers cramming tutorials into the gameplay? No, I don't. I don't agree with that at all. So, I do understand what people are saying by when they don't want to be told, they just want to play the game. That I understand. But that doesn't change the fact that the tutorial should still be in the game, but it should be off of a main menu. This is what a tutorial should be. All games should have the following: first and third person mode, and the ability to shut off all blur and bloom effects and everything else. That's the first thing. All games should have a tutorial off of the menu. That's not part of the game. It's off of the main menu that says tutorial. And when you go into the tutorial, this is what it says. Here is the game. Here are the game. You know, it should give you all this stuff. If you want to learn how to do this, click here. And what it should do is give you a narrated piece of information from the game developer saying, okay, we're going to teach you how to attack. To attack, pull this out. And if you want to do this move, do this. Or here's a variant of this. Try experimenting with different moves. Now, go do the move on this dummy. Forcing the player to actually do it. So now that not only is the narrator gone over the mechanic for, you know, doing whatever, it's now having the player actually go through it to do it so they know how to do it when it comes to the game. All the basics of a game should be put together like that. All of them should. Saying, you know, you'll encounter, and what it should say at these tutorials is like, all right, you'll encounter different types of enemies, you'll need different types of tactics to beat them. Try experimenting with the baseline of this to see what you can come up with. That covers the entire, you know, that covers the entire melee or whatever fighting tutorial aspect there is on that. Now, if there's like, if there's hacking or whatever else it is, you know, hey, this game contains a bunch of mini hacking games. Here's an example. Here's an example of how to hack this. You know, you do this A, B, and C. Now go do it and have them do it. So all tutorials need to be like that in order for them to be actually called a tutorial. Because a tutorial is a step-by-step piece of information that is easy to understand, that cannot be misunderstood by everybody. Because because tutorials are instructions. Instructions are all the pieces of information that are needed. It doesn't say, yeah, this game contains hacking. Here's a puzzle. Match the symbols on the screen, and then doesn't tell you how to even bring the symbols up on the screen in order for you to hack. Same thing with like something that was in Mass Effect, and same thing with this thing in Mass Effect. It says, here, holding shift allows you to change weapons. So when I press shift, the weapon's going to change? No, instead what happens is, that's a bullshit piece of information, because the game just told you, hold shift to change a weapon. But when you hold shift, it doesn't actually change your weapon, so that's a fucked up piece of information, and I don't understand how nobody understood that. But anyway, when you hold left shift, it brings the screen up and says, move your mouse over the weapon bar to change a weapon. And then there's no weapon bar on the screen. There's not even any weapons on the screen. The thing is telling you to place your mouse over a non-existent place instead of saying, in order to change your weapon, you need to bring the weapon bar up. Here's how to bring the weapon bar up. Once the weapon bar is up, you can change the weapons. Instead, they say, move your mouse over the weapon bar. And then there's no further information. There's no weapon bar on the screen and anything else. So what you're getting is a piece of information to tell you, it's telling you to move your mouse over a place that doesn't exist yet because the game hasn't told you how to bring it up. So in reality, it needs to tell you how to bring it up first before telling you to move your mouse over it. So it's a broken fucking piece of information. It's pointless to even have that. So that information is not an instruction. That's fucking nothing. It doesn't tell you anything. Because what you need to know in order to change the weapon, you need the weapon bar. But if you are not told how to bring that up or where it is on the screen or anything else, you will never be able to do that move, ever. So therefore, what is the point of telling somebody that information when the information is not only backwards, but it doesn't have all it doesn't have the complete pieces of information. You see what I'm saying? So it's really fucked up. So all game tutorials should have every basic mechanic gone over off of an option in the main menu with narration from the game developer, whoever it is that's doing this, explaining how to do it, and then having the player actually go through and do it. And that menu should be right at the fucking beginning of the game. If the instructions in a game are not put in there in that fashion, where there is a full-out detailed explanation, like if something needs to be clicked on the screen, you tell the player, you need to click this. And then say, hey, go ahead and click this now to do this. If those instructions, if those type of instructions are not on the screen, and the game says, and that information's in a tutorial, and that information is not contained in those screens, it's not a tutorial. People can argue that point all they want, but it's not a tutorial by definition. Because by definition, a tutorial says, hey, all the information on how to do this is going to be presented to you. And then you're going to be told to go through the motions of doing it. And then the game should not allow you to continue until you actually do that. Baldur's Gate tried that bullshit, but they didn't explain jack shit about, it's not a tutorial. They had shit off of the main menu, but the fact of the matter is, they didn't go over the interface and then told you to look for shit on the interface. You had no idea what the fuck you were looking at. And then it was inside menus that you were never told existed. And then it was giving instructions on how to do one thing on one aspect of the game and giving information on what the icon looked like in the main menu. But then there was another piece of information in the main menu that revolved around an icon, but it never told you what the icon looked like, so there was no fucking way for you to know what it was. Now, could you move your mouse over it? Yeah, but that's not even a valid counterpoint. The point is that it should have fucking told you this in the first place. That's the point. So, all games, as far as I'm concerned lately, no, they don't contain tutorials. When you're using the word tutorial. Honestly, if you go through any, like, if you look, like I said, if you look at my Mass Effect 3 video and then my Mass Effect Andromeda video, this will totally come into play for you. It'll totally make sense to you. Because I have people trying to argue with me that what I'm saying in the Mass Effect 3 video is false. No, it's not false. It's just, people that already know information try to apply that to the videos that I make. But the videos I make, you wouldn't have that information in order to apply it, so it doesn't, the context that people are trying to do does not apply in any way, shape, or form. So you can't take after the fact knowledge that you have and then try to apply it to a beforehand situation and then say the person's dumb for not knowing what was never told to them. That would be like you having to ask a question you have no idea about what you're asking about. You wouldn't even know enough that you wouldn't even know you had to ask it. And then you're being told you're stupid for not asking the question. You're like, what the fuck are you even talking about? Tell me I need to ask a question. Do you really need to be told that? Yeah, you're yelling at me for not asking a question I had no idea I even had to ask. It's just like, that's what I'm saying, it's just dumb. So that's the whole problem with gamers in general. They're just too dumb to understand half of the shit that's going on. And they will argue profusely with you and then tell you you're the one arguing or you're a troll. It's like, whatever. Alright, take care, buddy. I'll be streaming tomorrow, too. So I'm just gonna get some of these question marks and then probably, I'll probably get the rest of these areas and then probably stop the stream. I gotta take a break and I'll probably go to bed or something. I gotta get up. Hey buddy, how's it going? Welcome to the stream, man. Hey, how's it going, buddy? Welcome to the stream, man.
This place is heavily guarded.
See if I can grab this guy before he gets up here. Oh, this is sick.
Hey, what? Dive under! Who's shooting?
Oh, I'm dead. I'm dead. Oh shit. That's fucked up. Oh my god, that's fucked up.
Should not have come here.
Right in the grill. There we go. I don't know who's still on the stream, but thank you for staying.
Oh. Yeah, best not to draw attention here. Hey!
Hey buddy, how's it going? Welcome to the stream. What are you up to? I'm just trying to get this crap finished. There's so many friggin' so many of these question marks, it's ridiculous. I'm trying to get these things done as, like, I'm going in and out, I'm not even messing around with what's in there. I'm only doing exactly what I have to do to get this 100% done, because this has just been a fucking long run. My horse's ass, look at that. Fuck.
You will pay eventually. Hey, hold on. Another! Mine now.
I got him. I got him from up there. This is terrible. I swear, like, every fucking time I go to aim for this guy, they move. Fucking dead now. Fuck, there's two of them? Shit.
You are dead. now. Die!
Alright, so that was useless. I'm dead. Grapes? Ah, I totally missed that. That is dumb. Very dumb of me. Alright. Alright. Location completed. I think what I'm going to do is exit out here this way and then end this stream. I gotta pick this back up tomorrow morning. So I'm actually going to end this. and say thanks everybody for watching. I'll be on tomorrow. Thanks for the support, whatever. And that's about it. So take care, guys.